Good day, everybody. I'm Hendrix, your strategic events and marketing executive here at Callbox. And welcome to Callbox Huddle 2023, building tomorrow's business today. Shortly, we'll be honored with the insights from the visionary behind Callbox, our very own CEO and founder, Mr. Rom Agustin. Following that, we've got 3 exciting breakout sessions lined up for you, along with some networking opportunities and a delightful musical interlude. For those of you who might be new to this platform, simply navigate to the Sessions tab on the left side of your screen to access everything you need. This also applies to the networking rooms. Well, I can sense the enthusiasm in the virtual room, so let's not delay any further. All right, so let's give a warm welcome to the virtual stage our very own founder and CEO, Mr. Rom Agustin.
Hi everybody, I'm Rom Agustin, the CEO and founder of Callbox, and thanks you for taking the time to sit down with me and kind of listen to what I have to say and tell you about what my views on it and on marketing technology and in business and how it impacts our business life. So let me give you a little bit of history of Callbox. Callbox was started around 19 years ago. We started the boom around 2004 during the outsourcing initiative, the big boom, the world's flat initiative, where people were outsourcing everything they can think of. And Callbox was started as an outsourcing partner for our companies. We were back then, we started out offering any kind of services in the business cycle, services that a company can think of, like we can do virtual assistant, operator controls, and marketing, telemarketing. One day, anything you can do outsourced that can be done by phone is something we followed through. That's how established Callbox was. We decided to set up a shop in the Philippines, and and we've done very well there. So as a life cycle, throughout the whole time, we immediately evolved, found ourselves. After the outset, we found ourselves immediately within a year of that, about 18 years ago, that we're kind of good at marketing. Marketing is something that's really well done, particularly telemarketing. And people were saying, it's a company that we can make, a very efficient, a very cost-effective way. And we became a telemarketing partner for a lot of clients and throughout the U.S., mostly in the U.S. at the time. At about around the same time, we evolved our marketing program to be more in a business cycle, on a B2B basis. We found ourselves to be stronger in doing business to business rather than B2C. So we got away from the whole cold calling telemarketing very quickly, become more of a professional services on the B2B side for marketing services. Come 2008, the big recession, 2011. So along the way, what I'm going to try to tell you really quick is Callbox has evolved along the way. And our first step of evolution we have after becoming a B2B telemarketing company or marketing company is basically the Great Recession of 2007, 2008. At that time, as some of you guys might remember, it's a pretty tough environment for everybody. I think probably good 20% of businesses simply just collapsed and gone overnight, especially in North America was one of the biggest impact of that. At the time when we saw our business shrink from, shrink down by 70% quickly overnight, we decided to pivot pretty quickly to move into a less area of recession, that's hit by recession, which is APAC, namely Singapore, Hong Kong, Australia, frankly, was less hit by recession. So we decided to expand our services beyond telemarketing B2B to more of email marketing and social media and less social media and telemarketing across Asia Pacific and North America. That frankly saved the day for us and moved from there. But each and every time on this that happened, we notice about what happened to us as a company is we learned to pivot. We learned to pivot from recession to basically in the US to now expand ourselves globally. The next big step, of course, for everybody that marks Callbox's revolution is basically during the pandemic. Pandemic hits. God. So what happens next? We shut down offices around the world overnight. And the people didn't know what's up. One thing great about Callbox at the time, we actually experienced our biggest growth during the pandemic, funny enough, because we've always been a remote partner for our clients. We've been always a marketing company we can rely on. We've seen our revenues triple overnight simply because we're already an outsourcing partner globally. At the same time on it, social media and particularly LinkedIn and all the other social, Twitter, LinkedIn has been a strong tool as far as marketing program, and we adopted that as part of our channels we call channels that we service our clients in, namely now voice, email, web, and social media. And that basically, so during the remote years of the time, we found ourselves doing those services for our clients. And namely, the fact that remote work has been a norm on that thing, which for everybody else, we thrived in that environment because we basically now are able to help companies centralize their marketing program into one company like us, while servicing their staff, like their sales reps across the globe, by giving them leads and appointments along the way on it. And we almost became a stable partner for our clients. And again, another part of the pivot that Callbox does is we took on more channels that we've done in the past, expanded our services, and along the way even expanded our regions, where we now added basically Latin America, multiple languages across the world, because we found companies now are able to sell remotely everywhere. They realize that they don't have to sell in the US. They don't have to sell, a US company doesn't have to sell in the US. A Singapore company doesn't have to sell in Singapore anymore. A Singapore company can sell to Thailand, to the US, and the US can sell to Europe. And that's with our data access. Not only other companies like technology companies are going to change, every company is going to change, especially marketing processes are going to change, because AI has to be a centerpiece of every effort that needs to be done in running a business, particularly in marketing, in lead generation, appointment setting. So that's what we've been working on for the last few months, almost a year right now, and releasing now we already released our Callbox GPT, our AI prospecting tool that we use, employing that in our services, our tool set of services. Because along the way, AI needs to be a vital tool to keep up with productivity, because that's what the promise of AI is. The promise of AI is, just like the internet was, just like the computer age was, it's as big as that, is the promise of productivity. And our client, and to be able to execute marketing programs together on a regular basis, you need all the tools you can have. So what do we do now? So as Callbox, and this one part I want to share to you, because hopefully you guys can get more down. We have employed AI in every part of our program, from content writing, from list management, to website development, to SEO, to ad purchasing, to even simple email and copy and script copy that's personalized to each client. We're using AI on a continuous basis. We're using AI to help us on everything. We are an AI first company. But let me show you another thing that we learned while we're trying to put together AI. We learned that to be able to conduct a marketing program, we came to realize that it's much to be, and the drive towards efficiency using AI, we also find a new aha moment for us that said that companies like us and other companies have multiple ways. They've been running their marketing we just put in context. Callbox has basically worked with at any given time, around 300 companies and clients. We have a client base of about 300. We should include Amazon, Google, Salesforce, a few big ones as our clients, and we manage their lead program for them. But we noticed something, even in medium-sized scale, small-scale companies, that they're running their campaigns before, more like silos. Silos means I have an email marketing program. I have an SEO initiative to bring in leads that way. I have a referral program with our channel partner to get me leads that way. And I have basically, I have a Google ad purchases over there. And I have a LinkedIn social media program. What we found now, what's happening, and that tying this together, before it was not possible to tie all these programs together to become more. But when we started employing AI as a tool, we find that using AI tools allowed us to connect all these channels in a contiguous basis. And the resulting result of that is the fact is when you tie in your inbound traffic from website and tie that into your outbound traffic calling, outbound email, outbound ad purchases, and tie it in a timely basis. In the past, it was very difficult to do that because data is not interconnected, software is not interconnected. But we found now that with AI, we were able to connect that and learn from that, and learn by following our customers, whatever channel they're in, and knowing the fact that which leads to prioritize, how to run a program on a constant basis. So through the external force of AI that caused us to start using AI tools, we also pivot now to offering our contiguous lead generation services to our client. And what that means basically right now is we are now taking on clients that are basically that can benefit with tying their marketing programs into one cohesive partner. Because right now, Callbox can offer not only the people that we have who have been marketing on 18 years and the process we've done in the past to tie it all together, but now the platform, which includes AI, to tie all the channels of marketing together. Ad purchase, outbound calls, outbound emails, inbound web traffic, social media, LinkedIn social media. All that tie-in, even your referral programs are all tied in together and manage that. Now we completely understand that this might be overwhelming for a lot of companies. How do you take all of these channels alone? Because it is tough. And for the companies who want to focus their initiative efforts purely on sales and don't have the leverage to basically put a big program, a marketing program together, Callbox offers a contiguous service that ties all these programs using AI as a platform, the technology as a platform, and the people that can run your marketing program across the board. I don't want to oversell what Callbox is, but what needed now in this climate right now is not only a one channel or two channel or three channel. It has to be a contiguous 360-degree view, contiguous program to run your marketing program. And the only way to do that is to be able to use all the right platform in a continuous basis. And frankly, not to oversell Callbox, having a core partner to focus on that alone and serve you up the leads and coming from your to your sales rep on a timely basis is the way to go. So what Callbox right now is doing is, let me define, in a bit more generic way, is the role, and again with Callbox is a role of a marketing agency, a new type of marketing agency that our clients should be looking for. Because no more that you hire a marketing agency to deal with your SEO, a marketing agency to do your ad buys, a marketing agency to do your outbound, a marketing program a marketing inbound, an SDR that can handle inbound calls or outbound email. The new marketing agency is an agency that can take all these channels, all these disparate channels together and feed them into a platform. Overlay an AI-driven approach to all that thing so that your content, your messaging is contiguous and continuous across all channels. Meaning, if you say one thing in LinkedIn, it should be tied to what you're saying on email, what you're saying on your website, and what you're saying into your ad buy. To be able to do that and tie it all together and look at the results and be able to digest those results, and if need be, based on this result, if the leads are not coming, if the pipeline value is not happening, can make easily tweaks that impacts all channels at the same time. For example, if you decide now that are talking about cloud, talking about your technology, your technology company, you basically want to talk specific about your technology. It's the way your marketing program to do. We have the best cloud service right now, or we have the best cybersecurity program right now, and you go with that messaging, and decide, and okay, and you thought that the marketing agency's job is to filter that towards all the channels at the same time in a contiguous way through both ads and email and everything, and with the people, the script they're using on the calls, and then decide after 1 week, you know what, we're not getting the kind of output we're getting through that on that cybersecurity high-tech kind of wording. Tweaking it and decide it once for all, maybe tweaking it more as a cost-saving basis for a client. Be able to turn on a dime and switch that and try a different thing. Do testing on that. Try testing whatever that. A marketing agency should be a marketing agency that has people, process, and platform that can adjust to that program very quickly and deliver a report, a continuous report, an analysis, allows you to basically turn on a dime and create a more refined program that is fit for your company. That's what needed for marketing agency. In the past, it's been very difficult to do that because it requires a lot of manpower, a lot of software. But with the tools that Callbox has been using in the past, the AI tools, the data tools, the intent data tools, all the other tools that we've developed, acquired and developed over the past, and put and place our people to make that thing, our platform, to make that more, doing campaign initiative on an ongoing basis, a continuous basis, is something that clients can do without worrying about, am I doing the best type of marketing at any given time with the right messaging? So I guess the lesson learned for Callbox now, and what we're doing, focusing right now, summarizes this. We are going to be a technology platform that is AI driven. We developed that. We had the people to manage all that stuff, and we have a process that's been refined over the last 18 years to be able to deliver that. And in some cases, offering that service as a plug and play to a company, be small or large, and deliver that in a short ramp up time, faster than it is than you buying technology, than a company hiring their own people and training them. Be able to deliver that within 30 days and make that as your marketing partner. I think you'll find that it's the result is going to be more powerful than building in your own. So employing a program such as Callbox offers allows companies now to spend their marketing dollars, versus marketing dollars, in more of a visual way where you can maximize it and make tweaks to maximize the return on it. If you're not getting the return on that messaging, you're not getting return on that channel, through a marketing partner like Callbox allows you to deliver, to know which channel's working, which process is working, which messaging is working, and make adjustments along the way where you don't have to wait a whole quarter on the result. You don't have to wait. When you hire a team of people, you would have to actually wait for them for 6 months to see what develops out of it. With the program of a plug and play at Callbox, your marketing spend is optimized to basically be able to squeeze as many leads at the growth of your pipeline immediately within weeks, instead of months and years. The key takeaway I think we'd like to have is marketing and technology is changing very, very fast. It's changing by the day. AI has accelerated all these changes even faster. To be able to keep up with this thing is something that a focused marketing agency partner is essential to your thing, because to be able to put a platform, because each of your technology, be it the data, the CRM, marketing automation, the email marketing automation, the calling, the LinkedIn, the social media. There are a lot of things that are changing quite fast. Each of those programs are changing fast but to keep up, it requires a marketing partner that that understands the full marketing life cycle. Not just, you can hire a person who's really great at writing. You can hire a person who's really great at ads, or who's really good at content, or really good at basically making phone calls, all that. But remember, marketing is not about those separate skills. Marketing is about tying those things together, delivering the results immediately, and then helping you analyze the result and making the changes quickly and re-implementing it. And that's something that's hard for a company to do, but not hard if they have a marketing partner such as Callbox to be able to do that, because it is changing quite fast. The skills that are required to do this are multi-variable. There's different kinds of skills that are happening, and they're changing. You might need a content writer in the beginning, but later you know what I really need? Somebody who does really good social media. And that's not necessarily tied together. But you need a full team of people on it. But it doesn't have to be expensive. What we're trying to tell is this kind of program does not have to be very expensive. In fact, it could be a cost-saving tool for a lot of companies, because to be able to acquire this technology, to be able to hire this people, to train, takes a lot of money. But there are many marketing agencies, such as Callbox. I'm not saying that we're not the only one, but there's a lot of marketing agencies that are ones that are forward-looking, technology-driven, and has a long history of results. Is something you can look for as far as trying to find the right marketing partner that can basically be something you can keep for a long time, show positive ROI, and that's what it is. It's a tool that a CEO can have. So anyway, I want to thank you for your time to take this, and I hope there's a lot of sessions in store for you that shows you what we do and what things we can look at, and appreciate your time to go over here. I hope it's valuable. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me on LinkedIn or to email, whatever, if you have any input. But and it's an exciting time for marketing and technology, and I think what we're offering in this conference is something that basically can either get you started on the journey, or at least check in with what you already know to see, and compare what we already know, and maybe we both learn from both. And that's what we hope. This kind of conferences is something where we can share ideas and grow together. And but I do hope that we add value to your programs that you're running right now. And we're Callbox is a company that shares what we do and shares it with the world, regardless if you're a client or not. But be very direct with your questions with our people. What tools are we using? What works? What doesn't work? Those are the kind of questions we'd like to have. So this is what the function of this summit right here, this conference. And thank you for attending. I look forward to meeting you again in a different session. Thanks.
Hey everyone! Welcome to the most anticipated online conference of all time. My name is Victor, Business Development Associate here at Callbox.
And I'm Hendrix, Strategic Events and Marketing Executive here at Callbox. And this is the 2023 Huddle, Building Tomorrow's Business Today. How are you, Vic?
I'm fine, Hendrix. How about you?
I'm actually good.
That's great. You know what? Yesterday, Hendrix and I were talking about the food that we're going to eat, or the places that we're going to visit, but this time, Hendrix and I were going to dive into the fascinating world of next-gen designers. And of course, Hendrix, when I think of them, it's like imagining the brilliant minds shaping our future businesses. They're not just designers, they are also practically like Sherlock Holmes, who inspires innovation and creativity. So what do you say, Hendrix?
Absolutely, Vic. Remember the good old days when businesses were just spreadsheets and sales pitches? We just shuffle papers and practice our best salesperson's lines. But now it's a whole new world of adaptability, innovation, and of course, experiences.
That's true.
These designers are basically the superheroes of the digital age, swooping in to save the day with their creative capes.
Couldn't agree more. And to add on that, Hendrix, with the pace technology is advancing, businesses that don't involve risk are getting left behind. And it's these designers who help us see what's next, providing us with a roadmap.
So true, especially for those in the B2B sector, like, of course, Callbox, where client needs are ever evolving.
That's
Businesses want solutions that are sustainable, pragmatic, and ahead of the curve. That's where these next-gen designers come into play.
Couldn't agree more. And I would say it's not just about the now, but also anticipating the future. The golden rule here is that crafting strategies today that will be relevant tomorrow. And you know what? I always believe, Hendrix, that businesses need to be proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. These designers are very, very talented. They
Exactly.
can even make a PowerPoint presentation about, let's say, an accounting software, which can sometimes be a bit dry, look like a blockbuster movie. And so guys, you should keep an eye on these next-gen designers. Collaborate with them and you should learn from them because they're paving the way.
To the architects of our future who are watching right now, anywhere in the globe, kudos to you and keep up the good work.
To New Horizons, Vic. And let's take a moment to applaud and congratulate these next-gen designers who are at the forefront of shaping tomorrow's businesses.
And of course, to our participants, stay right where you are because we're about to dive even deeper into the world of these visionary thinkers.
Up next, don't miss our exciting session about tech-forward strategies for future-ready businesses. But before that, get ready for a musical treat brought to you by Callbox's very own talent, Osh Halyarda. Osh, take it away.
Hi, I hope everybody's having a great time. I am Osh from Callbox ABC SEO team, and I'm here with Jules from Harinao Studios. If you know the songs we'll be singing, just feel free to sing along. Let's go. I don't know what it is that you've done to me, but it caused me to act in such a crazy way. Whatever it is that you do when you do what you're doing, it's a feeling that I don't understand. Cause my heart starts beating triple time with thoughts of loving you on my mind. I can't figure out just what to do when a cousin cure is you. I get so weak in the knees, I can hardly speak, I lose all control. Then something takes over me in a daze, and it's so amazing. It's not a phase, I want you to stay with me. By my side, I swallow my pride. Your love is so sweet, and it knocks me right off of my feet. Can't explain why your love makes me weak. I get so weak, blood starts racing through my veins. I get so weak, girl, it's something I can't explain. I get so something about the way you do, the way you do it. Yeah, I can't explain why your love makes me weak. This song goes out for all the Swifties out there. I hope you can sing with me. I am not that kind of boy who should be rudely barging in on a Whiteville occasion, but you are not that kind of girl who should be marrying the where I stand and say, don't say yes, run away now. I'll meet meet you when you're out of the church at the back door. Don't wait or say a single vow. You need to hear me out. And they said, speak now. I hear the preacher say, speak now or forever hold your peace. There's a silence, there's molestations, asking up with shaky hands, all eyes on me. Horrified looks from everyone in the room, but I'm only looking at you. Don't say yes, run away now. I'll meet you when you're out of the church at the back door. Don't wait or say a single vow. You need to hear me out. And they said, speak now. I hope you can groove in with these Bruno Mars and Michael Jackson classics. Let's take our time tonight, girl. Above us all the stars are watching. And there's no place I'd rather be in this world. Your eyes are where I'm lost in. Underneath the chandelier, we're dancing all alone. There's no reason to hide what we're feeling inside right now. So baby, let's just turn down the lights and close the door. Ooh, I love that dress, but you won't need it anymore. No, you won't need it no more. Let's just kiss and be naked, baby. Versace on the floor. Ooh, take it off for me, for me, for me, for me now, girl. Versace on the floor. Ooh, take it off for me, for me, for me, for me now, girl. Versace on the floor. Once again, thank you for participating in Callbox Huddle 2023, Building Business Tomorrow Today. It's warming up, can you feel it? It's warming up, can you feel it? It's warming up, can you feel it, baby? Oh, seems like I'm ready for more, more, more. Let's just kiss and be naked. Versace on the floor. Oh, baby, take it off for me, for me, for me, for me now, girl. Versace on the floor, oh, baby, take it off for me, for me, for me, for me now, girl. Versace on the floor, floor, floor. Baby, love never felt so good. And I doubt if it ever could. Not like you hold me, oh baby. Love never felt so fine. And I doubt if it's ever mine. Not like you hold me, and the night's gonna be just fine. Gotta fly, gotta say, can't believe I can take it, just baby. Every time I love you, it's eating up my life, baby.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone, wherever you are, and welcome to session one of our Huddle 2023. Tech Forward Strategies for Future Ready Businesses. I'm your virtual host. My name is Carmi, Director of Client Services Operations. And I'm excited to kick off this insightful session that promises to equip you with the knowledge and strategies for building a tech savvy, future ready business. Today, we have gathered a panel of industry experts who will share their insights, strategies, and experiences on how businesses can adapt and thrive in our rapidly changing technological landscape. We'll be exploring cutting edge ideas, innovative solutions, and practical approaches that will help stay ahead in the ever evolving world of technology. Before we dive into the discussion, let's go over a few housekeeping rules. There's a chat feature on the right side of your screen that you can use to interact with other attendees. We'd appreciate as well if you can keep your mic muted during the session to minimize background noise. The Q&A feature will be for your questions to our panelists. We'll do our best to address as many of your questions as possible. And today's session is being recorded, and you'll have access to the recording after the event. So don't worry if you miss out on anything. Now it's time for us to meet our esteemed panelists who will be sharing their expertise and insights in today's topics. All right, joining us today, we have the CEO of DV8 Systems, Info Systems, Mr. Bill Faruqi. Hi, Bill. Maybe you can share a little bit about yourself and DV8, Bill. I think you're on mute.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, everyone, depending upon where you are in this part of the world. Hi, Carmi. Hi, everybody. Callbox. Hi, Eugene. Nice to see you again. Well, guys, I'm the CEO of Deviant Info Systems and an AI subsidiary called MindHive. I've been with Callbox for a long time. We've done business together. One of my colleagues and friends, Eugene, is also on this panel. Deviant Info Systems is an IT systems integrator. We specialize in cloud cybersecurity and software systems. We have a mantra. It's called build, deploy, secure. So we build systems, we deploy systems, and we secure them. And we do it with an emphasis on AI. So we use a lot of AI in our automation, AI in our delivery. So we're very AI-centric cloud software and cybersecurity business, based out of North America predominantly and Hawaii.
Thank you, Bill. And of course, joining us as well is is the CEO of Alima Technologies, Eugene Alfaro.
Hi, Carmi and everyone. Audio check? Yes? Eugene Alfaro, for the first 17 years of my career, leading national IT organizations for public companies in multinational environments. And then for 10 years into professional services, leading the technology organizations of Cornerstone Technologies, which we then merged into Sonosoft, which Sonosoft is actually an AI company that takes a wealth of data that now is particularly being used in the medical analysis industry. But since then have had the pleasure and the opportunity to be able to start Alima Technologies with our investor support and our friends and partners, particularly providing a managed service for sales organizations and ensuring their CRM continues to evolve with them. So we're very aligned in what we do. But now, taking advantage of the AI capabilities within the variety of platforms that we have had available to us, not only leveraging for us, but more importantly, now helping our customers leverage it on their side. So good to see you guys. Good to see you again, Bill.
Thanks for joining us, Eugene. Now, we're going down south from our operations center in Medellin, Colombia. We've got our business development manager, Samuel Blanco.
Nice to meet you guys. Thank you very much for being here today. I'm very excited. Well, I am business development manager here at the Colombia team at Callbox. I manage Latin America market, also North America market. I have learned a lot of technology so far. I have experience working with virtual reality, augmented reality. I have also worked with a lot of technologies, new technologies related to marketing, to gamification, using different tools in terms of obtaining different experiences for different purposes. So for today's huddle, I am very excited to talk about artificial intelligence, to share with you some of my insights, and also to share with you this time. So thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm very excited here.
Now, on the other side of the world, we've got one of our senior operations manager for client services, Eunice.
Other side of the world from the Philippines. It's actually 2:51 a.m. our time. We work and assist North America. We work follow Eastern time zone. And yes, my name is Eunice, and it's a pleasure to have all you guys here. We're excited to discuss with you how we have been helping our clients for years and continue to provide them good quality of connections. So looking forward to really fruitful conversation today.
Right, we're very fortunate to have all four of our panelists here today, and I'm sure this is going to be a fun and insightful session. Now, I guess let's get started. It's been on everybody's mouth, this 2023. So let's just go ahead and address the elephant in the room, right? We're talking technology, so we can't miss out on AI. I think everybody has done some sort of investment in this space to stay relevant, right? Given that, how do you think can businesses ensure that their investment in AI and automation actually yields an ROI? Any thoughts on that, Bill?
Sure. Yeah. So this is a question that I get asked a lot. I mean, as the CEO of the company, I'm very hands-on with our customers, and I have numerous calls per day with customers, the potential customers. This is the question I get peppered with all the time, and I've tried to simplify this down to a very basic concept that people need to understand if they want to shoot for ROI, achieve ROI, and then scale ROI. And that is simply this: AI is a force multiplier. That's all I can say. What it means basically is that whatever resources you had at your disposal as a business owner before that you were leveraging to generate return on investment, AI does that at scale for you very quickly, very efficiently, with minimal errors. So I think for small businesses and medium to large businesses that are implementing AI, I think the number one thing they need to focus on is what are the AI use cases in their space that should be deployed. Are they having challenges with marketing? If so, that's a great implementation of AI. AI can help you market better, message better, brand better, reach better, audience better. If your issue in your business to scale and you're looking for an ROI on operations, AI can really help you do that. So I think in a nutshell, achieving tangible ROI means having a roadmap for what you're trying to do as a business. How are you trying to transform? What are the areas that are working great that AI can augment you in? And what are the areas you're not doing so great in that AI can really give you that force multiplier that you need? And then create a strategic plan, pick the right toolings, train those toolings, because AI is just like a human being, right? So it needs to be trained just like you would if you brought an employee in. Train that tooling, fine tune that tooling, and then deploy that tooling, and then measure that tooling. That's what I think is probably the most optimal way to achieve ROI using AI.
Right. You're talking about measurements. Now, can anybody share with us like a specific experience wherein investment in AI and automation actually, led to us to a win, big or small, and what key metrics were most impacted by this change? Maybe Eunice, anything to
Right. So I think for clients that I've worked with, they usually are struggling with the traditional way of how they are connecting with new opportunities. So it's usually like traditional way of um, identifying their ideal customer profile. So and that's really a problem because it has limitation. It relies on just heavily on referrals, and they have to wait for these referrals to connect them to new opportunities. But now with AI, clients are now investing with AI generated ideal customer profile, and that actually allows them to not just settle with that limitation, rely on their own experiences, but with this AI tool, it allows to uncover actually um, connections and accounts that they haven't really worked with before, but we found out that based on the algorithm and of course AI's machine learning capabilities, we found them as a good match. And we don't settle with just the normal, the usual, just because this is based on their experience. But with AI generated ideal customer profile, of course, we base it from um, connections and the right contacts to connect with. It also it helps them identify actually accounts that would eventually um, create a good deal for them. So
Right. Eventually,
that's what I can think of.
eventually expanding really their target market, right?
Exactly.
All right. Now, Eugene, as a company that started during the pandemic, what practical steps can a business that's just starting and with resource constraints take to effectively adopt and integrate tech forward strategies within their operations?
Appreciate the question, Carmi. Particularly with SMBs or small to medium businesses, right? They don't have a lot. We know a number of different factors. One, they don't have a lot of resources. They don't have a lot of capital, um, but they want to adopt tech forward strategies. Recommendation that we would have for such businesses is to make sure you're adopting those tech forward strategies through a solution that's designed specifically for your industry, your organization. The challenge today is whenever we have big buzzwords and new platforms and technologies like AI, is that everybody and anybody now wants to have an AI story, and that they should. They absolutely should. But unfortunately, it to become so broad in its application that it doesn't have a specific direct output for that line of business or for that particular business. And so I encourage businesses, especially SMBs, look for the technology companies that are particularly aligned with your business.
All right. Any thoughts on that, Bill? All right. Any thoughts on that, Bill?
Sure. Good point, Eugene. He's absolutely spot on the money here. So you want something that's surgical, right? You want something that's tactical, that's aligned with your goals. But sometimes I've noticed in 26 years that I've been in software, well, about 24 years of software, that AI should not be perceived as just and only a tooling and yet another tool. Sure, it's got great capabilities for predictive analytics. It's got great data analytics capabilities. It can generate insights accurately over troves and troves and troves of data that might take an army of 100 people, maybe 5 years to do, and it can do that very quickly for you. But I'll give you a use case of AI that we recently are working with, right? And so the question here, right, is how do we get an ROI, and what are the resource constrained businesses be able to do to leverage this AI, and how can it be done? And I'll give you a great use case. So there's a law firm. I can't give a name. The law firm, large firm, almost 3,000 attorneys, right? I spoke with the CIO of the law firm. A typical civil case from start to end takes about 10,000 man hours of billable time, right? Roughly, because there's a lot of document generation and briefs to be filed and motions to be done and subpoenas to be sent and so on and so forth. And so it's very human intensive. And that case could cost a customer possibly $1 million in legal fees. AI, when used on that very same project, reduced a 10,000 man hour civil litigation case down to about 1,500 man hours, saving the end client approximately $850,000. The legal bill went from $1 million to about $150,000. Why? Because not only was AI doing the analytics, not only was it researching case study, not only was it doing the subpoenas, but it was generating all that content that a bunch of paralegals and typists and people have to do, which is very, very time consuming. So there's AI in narrow use cases, like we have in HubSpot, embedded in HubSpot, or like we see in Bing and so on and so forth. But then there's general AI, which is just generative AI. And this law firm, for example, now can take $1 million case, bill a customer $150,000. It saves the customer 85%. And now the law firm can take on 10 times more cases than they traditionally could have done before with the same amount of resources, growing their business. So that, in my opinion, is kind of the area of focus that we're working with at MindHive and Deviate. We're doing smart workforce automation where we're using generative AI to reduce the amount of labor it takes for humans to do certain things and augment those humans and get companies ROI, lower price point entries to attract customers, lower customer acquisition costs, and overall just sort of streamline operations.
Right. Resource constraints no longer, you know, much of an issue to really scale, your business. All right.
Absolutely.
So Alima and Callbox, I know, and DV8 has been quite heavy on AI since the start of the year. Sam and Eunice, in terms of like sales and marketing strategies, what do you think are the ethical considerations businesses should weigh with implementing advanced AI in sales and marketing? Right? How can they navigate the fine line between personalization and intrusion? Sam, would you like to
Okay, no
start?
problem. So, well, first of all, I think that one of the most relevant things to consider related to ethical considerations is about transparency. It's important to create and maintain the trust. To use ethically the artificial intelligence, it's important to create like a framework in which you have certain guidelines in order to assure that the human beings are like considered in a fair way, considering the privacy, the accountability. So I consider that transparency and creating a framework, it's very important to be able to use ethically the artificial intelligence.
Right. And to also back up Sam's input there, um, we have to identify which part of the process is actually AI driven and which part of the process is still requiring human effort. I think in this conversation of about AI, embracing technology, yes, is to allow us to optimize and be efficient, right? But we should always also not underestimate the importance of human connection. With Callbox process, of course, we try to really be on point in ensuring that we are updated with the technology currently. However, we of course ensure as well that we um, provide still human connection type of approach to it. And with what Bill and Eugene mentioned earlier, um, understanding which part of the organization we can apply this. We can't just easily apply this to all organization. Right. So
All right, Eugene, yeah, you actually deal with CRM and CRM automations in sales. So I think you have something to share here.
Yeah, it's ethical considerations for AI is all about where the data ingest. This is all great, good points, by the way. But I'd like to add that it is a real problem because AI is all about, in particularly with generative AI, the output of data, taking trillions of data points as ingestion and then providing you that output, like Chat GPT, right, for generation of content. The question is where the content comes from. And I think there's actually a potential messaging here that even Callbox can have as a value proposition. Let me see if I can try to explain in short. If all of the content that is consumed into the data lake is from an outside organization created by others, and then you're creating new content from that using generative AI, asking a question such as, how should I answer this question about AI? And it uses all of that content. Well, there is some ethical concerns there because it's really somebody else's work that's being collected. And by asking the right question, you're getting an output. So it's really your question, but it's still someone else's content. But there are organizations, and that's what we work with. We work with organizations that have a wealth of data already. Bill's example of a law firm is a perfect example. Thanks, Bill. Law firms have decades of content, documents, outputs, pleadings, writings, articles, case history that can actually be and would be, in the case of AI application for law firms, the initial input of data that's contained within that organization. So as they're asking questions of maybe create a pleading for me regarding a particular matter in a certain region, and it takes those billions of data points, it's coming from the law firm's own content, which they have ownership of, which takes away some of that ethical consideration, right? But then it can also then combine other content from the outside. This is a point that the folks over your team over at Callbox can really leverage with regards to talking to your customers. And that's this. You have almost 2 decades worth of content and experience in marketing and messaging various companies in different industries. As you take that data and feed it into your data lake, and then your team members that are doing content creation, when you're creating your landing pages and your scripts, you're really utilizing content that's been generated and has been successful. And as Ram said earlier in one of the key point notes, you know what works and what doesn't work. And by being able to feed that data into the system to train it, you're able to create relevance and scoring. What works and what doesn't work is very powerful information, so that when you're outputting a new script leveraging generative AI using your own content, there's no ethical issues, because you know what's worked using the decades of information and content you've been able to generate.
Right. Exactly the idea behind, the ICP generator that we have, and what's aiding us right now in creating our templates. It has ingested information from multiple campaigns. So it really knows, how we should present our templates, and what type of ICP we should go after. So good point there, Eugene. Now, Bill, you're pretty well adapted into this to this whole AI landscape. We have and so we have so much to learn about you about adapting fast. In a world where customer expectations are evolving rapidly, how do you do what you do? Staying ahead of the curve and using technology to meet and exceed expectations in your interactions with clients and prospects.
So if this is is this a question directed to how we deviated doing it, or generally
Mhm.
business owners as a whole?
Yeah, well, deviate. We'd like to learn from you because you've adapted fast, to AI. So, how do
Yeah.
you do that? Mhm.
Actually, this is a good question that takes off of the previous question. And one of the things I wanted to say about the previous question that you asked about how to use AI really blends into question number 4. So I'm going to take a step back a little bit. Chat GPT, 2 words, chat and GPT. Take the chat out. What you're left with is GPT, and that's what we're using in our business today. What does GPT mean? It's not a rhetorical question. It means generative, and this is the key word, pre-trained transformer. Generative pre-trained transformer. Imagine you brought an employee into your business. This is how we're using it. Imagine we brought an employee into the business. This person is pre-trained. They are a pre-trained software engineer. They know everything about software engineering, everything about writing code, everything about unit testing, everything about functional testing, everything about cybersecurity. They are pre-trained. Now I take that generative pre-trained model, bring it into my business, and now I put it into supervised and unsupervised learning mode. That's the part that Eugene talked about how Callbox is going to leverage their 2 decades of information. So you take this generative pre-trained transformer model, which is GPT, and you bring it in your business, and then you unleash it on your data, and it goes into unsupervised learning mode in the background and supervised while you're working with it, and it starts to continuously train and train and train more. So imagine if it was Callbox, you've got this pre-trained transformer model that knows everything about sales and marketing. So guru on sales analytics, a guru on all the KPIs. Imagine the genius Oracle pre-trained came in. Now you unleash it in your data. Now it's learning about all your customers, all your customer actions, everything else. And now it's a really effective pre-trained and unsupervised learned AI agent that's working for you. We use that same model at Deviate. We were noticing that we were spending an inordinate amount of time in design specifications for our customers, cloud projects, software projects, cybersecurity projects. Humans were taking hundreds, maybe thousands of hours just in the design phase. We were taking hundreds, if not thousands of hours, developing these solutions, writing the scripts, writing the code, compiling it. Then we were taking hundreds, if not thousands of hours, writing the test scripts, testing it. We said, wait. Why is it costing our customers so much money? Let's use pre-trained generative AI agents to design the software, to write the software, to test the software, to deploy the software, and to secure the software. So where previously it might have taken me 3 years to deliver a cloud solution for a customer, 3 years to deliver a software solution for a customer, or maybe 50 people working 3 shifts of 8 hours a day to secure my customer's infrastructure, now we've got generative pre-trained unsupervised learning agents that will do the design that the architect will need to do before. And now it didn't take 10 architects, it takes 1 architect now to do the job. The generative AI writes the code. So where it took 100 developers before, now we have 5 developers doing it, and so on and so forth. Net result to my customer, 75% cost savings on a project. I can compete with Capgemini. I can compete with Accenture. I can go toe-to-toe with Microsoft Consulting Services. I can go toe-to-toe with India, who's selling resources at $17 an hour. I can underprice them, deliver it in a third of the time they can deliver it in, and still make money. That's how we're using it, Deviate. We're using generative AI basically as a force multiplier. And I haven't lost a deal yet. I would be shocked if somebody could come to us now and say, we could do that deal better with another company and we could get it done for cheaper. It's a money back guarantee we offer now. We're like, okay, really? Fine. We'll give it to you for free. We'll build it for free. We'll develop it for free. We'll deploy it for free. And if we don't save you 75%, don't pay us.
That's a big investment as well. Actually, acquiring those tools that would be like of good use for your company. So, how do you manage the potential risk of tech obsolescence and ensuring that your strategies actually remain adaptable in the long term? Bill, Eugene, any thoughts around that?
Eugene, go.
Sure. Um, well, there's a new wave of technology, or we're in a new generation that already, in a sense, addresses that. And that is by adopting cloud technologies. Once you're adopting cloud technologies, leveraging subscription-based models, you're already inheriting and bringing into play any new functionality and capabilities those technologies have. So for customers or companies that still have non-cloud-based subscription model services, products, or technologies, right away move away from that, because those are static. Those are non-changing, high inertia, large inertia type technologies that are in your organization. The second is just be willing to make a change. Frankly, I hate to say this, but have no loyalty to any given technology. Be willing to make that change, which means you have to be ready to move. And it's all about data transformation and migration. That's where companies like Talent and others have become, and Boomi, as an example, have done so well and been successful because of the lack of loyalty from one technology over to another. Being able to move data and shift it from one to the other, both seamlessly as you're going through the transition process, and then upon completing that, preparing that data for any future transformation. So be ready to change, have the transformative software and services in place ready to go so that you can go ahead and move from one technology over to another. I think that's one way to manage the risk of technologies being obsolete, because one thing we cannot do is we cannot control the innovation of the technologies that we have employed. We can certainly control how much of it we employ and leverage, but we cannot develop it for them. And so be ready to make that shift and be ready to move data.
Mhm. And the Lima is on the verge of that big change coming in the next few months, right?
Yes, we are. In the next
Anything to
few
add?
months, we already started, and we'll be done in about a week.
Right. Anything to add to that, Bill?
Sure. So this is a good question. And Eugene's absolutely right on point, right? So the cloud model, I call it SaaS model, right? So the software as a service model in the hosted in the cloud, like Alima provides, this helps you mitigate technology obsolescence, right? You're relying on the SaaS vendor to stay ahead of the curve in the technology, and you pay as you go and you use it. And you, for the most part, will absolutely stay ahead of the curve in technology, because you're not, the buyer is not responsible for making sure the technology stays ahead of the curve. You're paying a monthly subscription fee to a provider to do that for you, and they're doing it in the cloud, so it kind of all happens seamlessly. But that's not where it all stops for a business, right? That's just the technology. The real problem is strategic obsolescence. It's the vision of the IT directors and the IT managers and the leadership of the company who they don't stay ahead of the curve strategically. And when they're not staying ahead of the curve on their tech strategy, they're not procuring cutting edge solutions like Alima provides or I provide, because they strategically are obsolete. So it's a combination of having a game plan to mitigate that strategic obsolescence with the technology. And now you're not only thinking in the future and you're predicting the future and you're creating a roadmap to not be obsolete, but you're also now procuring technologies from purveyors such as Alima to make sure that that technology is not going to be obsolete. So they both have to go hand in hand. You can't just completely rely on technology and expect it to do the magic for you. You kind of have to be thinking about what you're doing in your business to not become obsolete also.
Visionaries for the company. All right. Now, Sam and Eunice, considering the global nature of our business, how do you adapt tech-driven strategies to cater to diverse international markets. And are there specific cultural nuances that you take into account?
Sure. So let me start here. Maybe you can complement me, Eunice. There is something very interesting in the global market that are all those cultural differences here on the room. You can see that there are a lot of differences. We are talking in the same language, but there are still some bridges that we have to consider. Now, using the technology, considering that right now we can translate something in less than 5 seconds and we can understand what people are talking about, we can go a little bit further and we can try to understand what is like those specifications about the cultural bridges that there are. Like there are some ways to do business, for example, in each market. In Philippines, for example, manufacturing companies may have different concerns than Latin American manufacturing companies. So I think that if we are able to develop and use efficiently artificial intelligence, for example, considering diverse audiences and try to build content and try to build communication that is adapted to global relationships, it's possible that we can create even a more globalized community. We can even do business in an easier way if we are able to adapt those small strategies in terms of optimizing what we are going to deploy, how we are going to communicate, how we adapt to that cultural sensitivity, because that is crucial to be able to engage in the global business.
Right. I think this is one big challenge also for different businesses that we worked with. They're always hesitant to go global just because I think they're always are comforted with um, where they're expert at, like just staying within US and all. But of course, we are always pushing them to consider going global. And yes, cultural nuances, I think part of it. Um, that's why we have already conducted so much research to ensure that we are adapting to the right market accordingly. So we have also, I think, adjusted based on the providing multilingual customer support. So if they want to go global and they want someone who speaks Korean, we provide that to them. If we also have different like Spanish or Latin for Sam, I think he's presenting Callbox in Spanish language. So we ensure that we are adapting to what's needed in that culture. So we are the right fit for that specific market.
Another buzzword right now is actually sustainability, right? Now, Bill, Eugene, how can companies ensure that their technology investments actually contribute to environmentally and socially responsible outcomes without compromising on innovation? Anything
Sorry,
to
who,
share?
who,
Mhm.
who was the question to?
Bill, Eugene, would like to take it?
Sure. I'll go. Eugene, you want to take that after?
Sure.
So, the environment and socially responsible agendas are a very subjective topic, right? So, is it who's responsible to ensure and inure the socially and environmentally responsible mandate here? As a software provider, we as a software provider, right? Our job is to make sure that our infrastructure that we have, virtual or brick and mortar, is socially responsible, environmentally responsible. We need to make sure that when we're with a cloud provider, that cloud provider that we're married to is doing their part to be socially, environmentally responsible. We need to make sure, and here's a big part for us, since we're deploying AI at scale, and we're implementing general intelligence in the form of agents, we want to be socially responsible, make sure we're not causing layoffs in companies, right? We want to make sure that we're not costing people their jobs. We need to make sure there's an educational roadmap there to be socially and ethically responsible, because now companies, hey, they had 100 employees before, CEOs and board of directors and shareholders kind of figuring out, wait a second, we could do this with 10 guys, let's get rid of 90 people. No, we need to be socially responsible. We can't just unleash AI on the world give it to people, and then sell it to them. And before you know it, they're laying off 90% of their workforce. We need to make sure, I need to make sure ethically from a compliance point of view that I dial back the throttle. And although we have the AI to help them whack 90% of their payroll costs, we won't do it. We need to eke it out. So it depends upon who you're looking at and whose perspective you're talking about. But in my opinion, socially responsible, environmentally responsible companies need to make sure that whatever you're consuming, whether you're consuming labor, or you're consuming electricity, or you're consuming physical space, or you're consuming parking, or you're consuming transportation for your employees to and from come to work, that you, as an HR in your organization, you have a corporate-wide policy for what you're doing and how you're vetting vendors to make sure that you're doing your part to be socially responsible, environmentally responsible.
Anything to add to that, Eugene?
There's a science principle, I think it's Newton's third law, if I remember correctly, that there is, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. And it seems like in what we're seeing today, there is sometimes, for every action, there is an equal and opposite overreaction as well. Why do I say that? Well, we have to be very careful to also watch how this term of social responsibility and social and sustainability is responding in the other direction, because we're seeing this in some cases, in some environments, we're actually seeing the pendulum swing in the other way. So we've been seeing in the last 4 or 5 years companies putting up about pages that speak specifically about their social responsibility and environmental sustainability statements. So that's one practical example or one practical step you can use. You can actually see most companies have those kinds of statements. Look for them. For companies that you serve who might be asking this same question, how do they make themselves socially responsible and sustainable? Well, having that statement being public and making that available would be a good recommendation for some of your customers to go and do that. But we also have to be very careful to watch the overreaction, because we're seeing it in the other direction, where some companies are now saying it's beginning to hurt their profitability. And because it's hurting their profitability, they're making adjustments back in the other direction because they overreacted to it. So we're seeing that today with some companies here making some changes. So look for those public statements, even recommend to your customers to make such public statements about their own social responsibility and how they've created a sustainable environment. And then also just be very careful to watch out for that overreaction.
All right. You hire, globally, Eugene. You've got people here in the Philippines, and then of course in the U.S. And in terms of your workforce or staffing, you know, as technology reshapes the landscape of our industry, what strategies are you implementing to ensure your workforce is actually equipped with the necessary skills to leverage these advancements? And what's your long-term plan for acquisition and
That's a great
workforce
question.
development?
Yeah, because we have teams. We have teams in the Philippines. We have an employee even in Kenya. We have contractors in South America, and then we have a bunch of folks in the U.S. and primarily in the Philippines as well. And we've got some contractors we work with and still have on our roster from India. So that is a challenge. It is a challenge to keep developing their skills relative to what their area of responsibility is. So keeping them, one of the things that we try to do is have a very transparent communication with our employees regarding our go forward long-term strategies. Which direction are we headed? In fact, we were considering a major change in our technology portfolio, and particularly our partnership, well before the beginning of the year in 2023. And when we had our company meeting in 2022, we announced to our employees that in 2023, by the end of the year, we're going to make a decision in this particular direction. We just need to choose which one of the platforms we're evaluating, and we'll keep everyone informed of that direction. We just made that decision 2 months ago. We changed our partnership strategy and who we're prioritizing as our go forward technology platform in 2024. And we announced that to our companies or to our employees within the company. In other words, very transparent. So creating a transparent communication with your team regarding your strategies going forward, like Ram did in the keynote today, right? What is it that Callbox is doing to unfold AI capabilities and continue to be a market leader in the area of this marketing space? By being very transparent, it helps employees to know how do they then align their go-forward development plans. And then the second, and I'll keep this one very short, is we have our annual reviews with employees that also include what the next year and next 18-month personal development plans are. What technology skills, what certifications, which areas, because we don't want them to feel like we're going to suddenly make a change and they become irrelevant. They have runway to make those adjustments.
All right. And I think we're down to our last question. This question is for everyone, whoever would like to take it. So, how do you balance a drive for innovation with the need to manage risks associated with new technologies, right? So, especially in terms of data security and privacy, and what best practices have you adopted to this end? Bill, would you like to start?
Sure.
Mhm.
It's a good question. It's a really interesting question. I'm sure Eugene and I could talk for hours on some of this. This is a big one. You guys certainly left the big one for the end. So how do we balance the drive for innovation and the need to manage risks associated with new technology? Okay. And so you gave an example of data security and privacy and so on and so forth. Okay. Most importantly, we are an innovation first type of mentality business, right? I make sure that myself and everybody that works in this organization, we're thinking innovation first, right? We are about digital disruption. We are about digital transformation. We're about generative AI agents. We're about smart. So we're pushing innovation all the time. We have an AI subsidiary called mindhive.ai. And within mindhive.ai, we have a little group called Hive Labs. That's all they do, Hive Labs. It's an R&D little organization that's really pushing the boundaries of what you can do with generative AI. And then when we do it, we eke it out with our vendors and the people that are on our teams, and we leverage it. So we're heavy on innovation, right? We really want to be stay ahead of the curve. Now that does come with things like data security and privacy. But most importantly, what we're doing internally to make sure that we manage risk is we make sure we containerize our solutions and our data. When I say containerize, I don't mean literally cloud container containerized, but compartmentalized, containerized, sandbox. Data security is huge. We do it. We do cloud security. One of our customers is the state of Hawaii. I mean, the entire state of Hawaii is one of our customers, right? And so we have to do cloud security. So we need to absolutely make sure that whatever innovation we're embarking upon, whether that innovation is something in terms of predictive analytics, or it's something to do with law enforcement, or it's something to do with whatever, we need to make sure that that deployment is in a controlled environment, and we make sure that we check all the egress and ingress points of data coming and going, and we make sure the cloud is secure. We want to push boundaries of innovation, but we need a templatized risk management solution. So for that, we have policies and protocols, we have processes built into our continuous integration, continuous development pipelines, we have checks and balances and systems and protocols in place in our cloud environments. We have restrict access. We have identity management in place, and we're leveraging Azure's data security features. So we're doing all of those things to keep up with our innovation. We're not letting risks stifle our innovation. We're charging at 199 miles an hour with innovation. We're making sure our purveyors and vendors and cloud providers can meet our needs to help us manage our risk.
All right. Anything
If
to
I,
add to that, Eugene? Oh, go ahead, Sam.
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to add something that I consider relevant based on Bill. Well, finally, technology is managed by people, so I consider that a really good practice will be to train people to give the people all the awareness related to data security, to privacy. I know this is a very broad matter, a very broad topic, but I consider that if we are able to train the people, if the people are, they interiorize the importance of data security, I think that is going to complement really good all the practices for using that kind of technologies.
That's good. Yep. I wanted to highlight something Bill said that I think should not be missed. Everyone should really understand what he meant by that phrase. They are an innovation first company. And if I understood Bill, because we have a similar mindset as well, innovation first, meaning it's not a matter of really balancing innovation and risk, because the question here was phrased that way, right? Balancing. I would look at it as, and I think this is what Bill means, innovation first, got to keep driving with innovation. Don't let innovation be stifled by the potential of risk. and then have process and procedures in place to identify that risk, whether it's a risk of data loss, a risk of quality, a risk of cost and time. Do that analysis on the back end, but always be innovative first. Don't ever stifle or slow down innovation for the sake of risk. Because a good practical step here that can be done is have a separate risk-focused team whose sole life is to find problems. Right? There are people who just love to do that.
They're called lawyers.
Who find data holes, who find places where you can have issues of quality, have them identified, and then elevate them to the same level of not only importance, but authority within the organization. They can actually stop development. They can actually stop production results. So that way it becomes a very honest conversation between those that are innovating and pushing forward and those that are managing the risk, so that then the executive management or CEO can be the final decision maker or judge of whether or not to push and move forward. So elevate them to the same level of authority as the innovators and creators, but they should not be at the front end of the conversation. Innovate first, continue to push. I'll give you a practical example of this. Henry T. Ford invented the car before anybody invented the seatbelt or the airbag, right? The airplanes were invented and created, and they never minded whether or not they needed to be able to capture crashes with black boxes. They did that after the fact. So I think we've seen successful innovation in past generations when it was always innovation first, as Bill said, and then risk management later.
I'd like to add one thing on the tail end, if you have a minute. Do you guys have time?
Sure, yes.
This is but thank you, Eugene. You're absolutely right. That's what I mean by innovation first, right? But this whole word innovation now, guys, and everybody's listening, and everyone's not listening, who might listen to this later. This word, this definition of innovation and what it actually means in practical terms, what we're about to see in the next 3 to 5 years and moving forward in terms of innovation is unlike anything we've ever seen in technology. Let me explain. When in the past we've said, hey, we're an innovation first company, right? We've got humans generating content. We've got humans coming up with ideas. And so we are limited by our own brain's abilities to be creative. We are limited by our own brain's abilities to innovate. I mean, invention basically is a human being innovating, right? And so we were limited, but we pushed ourselves and we innovated quite well, right? We innovated great with silicone on the chips. We innovated great with technology. We've integrated great with architecture. Everything's really been innovative. Amazing. What we're going to see now with innovation, and we are seeing right now with innovation, some of it's visible in terms of commoditized, commercially available packages, some of it's not visible, will become soon. What we're going to see in innovation right now is a force multiplier. It is a scale 1000x type of ramp up in innovation. What we are going to see now in breakthroughs in medicine. Let me give you a simple example. I got a demonstration. I won't say where. I got a demonstration about a week ago. Okay. What took 6 days to sequence the human genome, to sequence the entire human genome, what took 6 days took a quarter of a second now. What does that mean? That means in the past, if we wanted to make cosmetic drugs, specific chemical compounds, to create a specific kind of medicine that treated Alzheimer's in John Doe's unique DNA structure, in the past, it took so long to sequence the human chromosome that by the time we finally came up with the medicine that would treat John Doe's Alzheimer's, he was already dead of natural causes because it took so much time. 6 days to sequence it once. We may have had to sequence it 100,000 times. Now we can do that in a quarter of a second. Now we'll see innovation in cosmetic drugs saving lives. We will now see innovations in law enforcement. We will be able to catch people quicker, find patterns in credit card spending and risk, and detect situations where we might be able to pinpoint fugitives. That I gave a demonstration of law enforcement. I took a picture of a crime scene, for example, right? And I had law enforcement officers look at it. I said, please excuse me one second.
Technology calling.
I told the law enforcement officers, I said, look at this crime scene picture. How many shell casings do you see on the ground? They counted 5. I gave that to AI. I said, how many shell casings do you see on the ground? AI said 6. The human eye could not detect a bump, which was a shell casing covered with blood. The human eye only saw 5. AI detected the anomaly and said that is the same shape and dimensions. So the innovation that we're going to see now is unprecedented in the history of mankind. Honest to God, I can't exaggerate this. And so if you're not an innovation first company, you're going to become obsolete. And I'll leave you with that.
That technology is definitely taking off. And just to summarize, I guess we need a technology seatbelt as well. All right. Okay. So I think I know we wanted to cover some questions right after, but we're running out of time. So, fantastic insights from our panelists. And in conclusion, as Bill mentioned, the world is changing at an unprecedented pace, and businesses need to embrace technology to stay competitive and future ready. Today's discussion definitely provided us with some incredible strategies and insights that we can apply to our own ventures. So, again, thank you so much to our awesome panelists. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to everyone, we have two more sessions. So, stay with us and we'll see you on the next one. For now, enjoy a short break and we'll be back at 2:45 p.m. for session two.
Thanks,
Goodbye,
everybody.
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Care.
You guys. Bye, Eugene.
Bye, Bill.
Bye.
Thanks, Bill. Thanks, Eugene.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we are back here at Callbox Hub with Hendrix.
Vic, it's incredible how tech is transforming businesses nowadays. And, from AI to automation to IoT, they are not just fancy buzzwords. They are just like weapons to fight off inefficiency and boredom, one spreadsheet at a time.
Precisely, and it's like watching a sci-fi movie but in real time. But there's a thought. It's not just about adapting technology, it's about how businesses weave them into their strategies and making them a part of the very DNA.
Absolutely. Let's take AI. It's not just for chatbots. Think of predictive analytics, understanding customer behavior, and fine-tuning marketing strategies. It's about being smarter with data.
And let's not forget automation, Hendrix. The efficiency it brings is unparalleled. Gone are the days of repetitive tasks eating up valuable time. Automation frees up resources, allowing businesses to focus on growth and innovation.
Exactly. And the Internet of Things, or the IoT, connecting devices, data, and people. Imagine the possibilities.
Yes.
The real-time insights, better customer service, to streamlining operations. Businesses that harness IoT effectively, well, they are steps ahead of the game.
And it's a powerful trio, isn't it? And for our participants here across the globe, think of the edge it gives. Positioning your business as a digital leader isn't just about the tech you use, but how you use it. It's about being future ready.
Absolutely. And as they say, embrace the tech, understand its potential, be the disruptor, not the disrupted. Well, after all, who wants to be the PowerPoint slides in a room full of Netflix episodes, right?
Yes, and it's an era of transformation, Hendrix. And those who adapt and innovate will redefine the future.
And to our audience, may we all be the trailblazers of this digital frontier on Earth.
Coming up next, get ready for an exciting session on AI-powered growth, pioneering future business success. But in the meantime, kick back and connect with fellow industry experts during our networking break.
See you!
All right, welcome back everyone to the second session of our virtual conference. I trust you've fueled up on inspiration from our first session on tech forward strategies for future ready businesses. Now, let's gear up as we plunge into the enthralling domain of session 2, Callbox Spotlight, Pioneering Future Business Success. I'm Olga. I will be your virtual host for today, Client Success Manager of Callbox North America. So let's get ready for an accelerating ride in this session. So we will be uncovering the secrets of pioneering strategies and innovative approaches that pave the way for extraordinary success in the constantly evolving business landscape. Join us as we plunge into captivating stories, valuable lessons, and game-changing strategies that have propelled some of the most successful businesses into the limelight. Joining us today are individuals who have played pivotal roles in pioneering future business success. Their experiences and insights are invaluable, and we're honored to have them with us. Let me start with Jennifer Taitula, VP of Sales for Credentially. Jen, maybe you could introduce yourselves and provide us some overview about Credentially.
Awesome. Thank you, Olga. Like Olga said, my name is Jennifer Taitula. I'm the VP of North American Sales at Credentially.io. Credentially is a healthcare onboarding and credentialing platform that helps streamline and automate the process so a clinician can get to their job as fast as possible.
Thanks, Jen. And joining her in the panel are the people behind Callbox remarkable sales growth. May we call on Mitas Aguadera, our global head of sales. Mitas, I think you're on mute. Okay, while we're waiting for Mitas, let me call on our director of operations, Jules Ogenbal.
Thanks, Olga. Welcome everyone to this session. I hope you guys had a great time on the first session. Hopefully, we can continue on this. We can continue that vibe on this next session. So, as Olga mentioned, my name is Jules Aguilar. I'm the director of global production for Callbox. I specialize in steering businesses, business processes, and fostering innovation. We focus on optimizing strategies and driving innovation, and I oversee initiatives within the organization aiming to enhance, of course, operational efficiency and explore new avenues for growth and development.
Thank you, Jules. Do we have Mitas on the line with us? I guess, yeah. You're on mute, Mitas.
Sorry, I'm having a technical issue earlier. So, hi everyone. My name is Mito Sagodera. So I'm heading Callbox Sales Global. So as promised with Jennifer, I'll be preparing my you know brief introduction. So I am the Callbox resident storyteller and of course deal maker. Yeah, welcome everyone.
Thanks, Mitas. And joining them today, we have our business development managers. Anna, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Olga. Hi, everybody. Thank you for taking the time to join us today. I'm still processing all the great insights I got from session one, and I hope that session two will be will provide you with a lot of learnings and takeaways as well. Really excited to join our panelists for this session, and please don't hesitate to shoot your questions in the Q&A session.
Thank you. Diana.
Hi everybody, my name is Diana Sanabria. I'm in sales and in charge of the sales team for Latam. And today I want to share with you the whole insight that we have learned during this time working in Callbox, and I want to learn from you as well. So welcome to our session.
All right. So you can expect to hear some remarkable insights from these accomplished individuals during our discussion today. So I guess without further ado, let's begin our discussion on Callbox Spotlight, Pioneering Future Business Success. So here's our first question. I believe I would like to call on Jen to answer these questions. So, Jen, could you share with us how you began integrating AI into your sales and marketing efforts and what prompted you to take the first step?
Absolutely. So I would say about 6 years ago, I was working for an organization in Austin, and the CEO challenged us to, he called it a zero time balance. But what he really wanted us to do is figure out how many minutes a day is our sales team spending selling, and how many minutes a day is our sales team spending doing other things, not selling. So that was my very first eye opener and where people are spending their time. And the slogan that we ran with was automate to eliminate. So as much automation as we can put through sales means that there's more time selling, less time using their fingers, I guess, to do a lot of emailing, LinkedIn. So it just provided them the ability to move quicker. So that was my very first moment where where it was, I guess, the realization of how important it was.
All right, thanks, Jen. Any additional insight from our callbox panelists?
Yeah. I think Jen already said everything about sales, but let me add to it. What prompted Callbox to, adopt a initiative is our CEO earlier in his keynote mentioned that we are a technology company, aside from being an outsourced marketing agency. So I think Callbox is in the business of innovating. So when you say innovating, it's like putting two or four things that already has existed and doing it a new way. So doing a new way it means that incorporating the new technologies to make our work more impactful.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing your AI journey, Midas and Jen. So I guess let's try to talk about your path to AI integration. I know that it isn't always smooth. So let's, move on to the second question here. So Jen, in your journey with AI, can you describe a turning point where it shifted a challenge to an opportunity or advantage? And how have your sales and marketing teams best integrated AI into their workflow?
Perfect. So to take a step back for myself, I'm an independent contractor. So organizations hire me to build sales factories, is what I'll call it. So these factories are, you know, if I was to reverse engineer it, right, we're all here for the money. How do I get the money? I get a customer. How do I get a customer? I get an opportunity. How do I get an opportunity? Right. And then when you rebuild it the other way, is you have to say, how does that factory look? Right? So, what do I need in that factory for it to work? And then, as you're putting all these mechanisms together, they all need to talk to one another. The moment you start siloing it, you're removing efficiencies and automation. So, for example, I've actually put Callbox or adopted Callbox into a few organizations, and things that were very important to me was the automation where I could just go into my CRM and I could see exactly what's happening. I could, the other things that we've done on top of what Callbox was doing is we've said in integrations and automations within our tools and technology. It would make me very sad to hear my sales team telling me that they're sending out emails when they could send out emails en masse in volume to the right party, right? So as we're building that factory, there's this, the goal is how can I reach as many people as I can with the messages that I can, and again in a very seamless as you move to each different step through the sales process.
That's a very transformative experiences, Jen. Thank you. Maybe call on or call box panelists. Anything that you want to add to that?
I think I can probably add on to that. I mean, Jennifer, describe. I couldn't describe it any better. Jennifer was really on point. I think for us here on Callbox, the game changer is being able to have more time for our staff to sell. And if you could do things in masses and still create the personalization that is required per industry or per job function, why not? Why not go for it? And I think that's part of a game changer that was met with one of our recent AI implementations for sales and marketing. And we've had it ever since, and we're still at the same time right now even trying to evolve from it. We want to put more efforts into it and put more on top of what we can do for our clients and then for our team as well. So I think Jennifer was really on point. Try to do everything in masses, but at the same time, you want to make sure it's personalized and it's not something that's repetitive and not something that's in mass where you're just spamming throughout, right? We want to be able to at least put more time on our sales person's effort in selling, but at the same time make sure that they do it well, and they do it at an extent where they are not just twiddling their thumbs or just say tapping on a bunch of keyboards and then they're not getting the results that they need.
Yeah,
So
Jules, I'd like to add something actually to what you're like, just to kind of keep going. Now I'm hitting the masses, right? I'm sending out those mass emails, but everything that I do has to produce me something,
yes,
right? So even though I'm sending out these emails en masse, I'm not getting sales en masse, but you know what I'm getting? I'm getting my name out there,
right,
right? So everything, if I send out an email, they go to my website. Well, my HubSpot will clock that, tell me where they went on my website, how long they were on my website. So every single thing has to have another piece of automation providing you power and visibility. I'm a big HubSpot user. I've played in Salesforce a few times. I'm currently in Salesforce now, but the automations that I was able to pull out of that HubSpot factory that we built was phenomenal, right? Lead
very
scoring, like, yes, I'm sending out the emails. Yes, I'm doing the dials. Yes, I'm doing that LinkedIn, but I'm retargeting that. And now I'm still building more power behind the sale, right? So every activity also has to be fed into something that you've already invested in. You've already invested in your website. You've already invested into SEO, SEM, right? So now we just got to keep it connected through that. I'm going to keep coming back to the factory, right? It just keeps coming back through,
right.
Yeah.
giving me more power as it spins.
Yeah.
I went to a show in Vegas. So I've been at Credentially now for 6 months, but I've been part of their family for about 3 years. But we've only been pumping the market since May 1st. Went to a show, everybody heard of us. Oh, I know you guys. Oh, I know you guys. How? Well, it's me and another guy. So it's from the factory, right? That we've built and used. And Callbox is in a major piece of my factory. They're actually the first people they see when they walk through the factory, right? Is the Callbox team.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's just, I just wanted to add there's more to it than just I'm sending this email out. Well, that email is going to do something else because they're going to click on something, they're going to read something, they're going to, right?
Yeah. I think just to piggyback on Jules and Jennifer, very well said. And thank you for the generous words, Jennifer, for using Callbox services, highlighting what we're doing for your company. But you mentioned about automation. My take on this is automation alone is not enough, but you have to marry automation and AI driven process. Automation doesn't answer the issues about fast access to information, better decision making, and of course, access to creative inputs. That's why when you pair up automation and AI driven, it works magic. Just like what Jennifer mentioned, you have access to better work sequences when you're using HubSpot, right? You can create sequences using AI driven plus automation. You can have access to information about the company, insights about the company using ChatSpot. And of course, access to more information when you wanted to know more about how to create workflows. So I think marrying automation and AI driven processes works magic, just like what Jennifer mentioned.
Very well said, Mitas, Jules, and Jennifer. So I guess, just to conclude, navigating the landscape of AI integration is not just about overcoming challenges, but leveraging them to seize new opportunities, right? So I guess, we would also like to know the effect of AI tools. Let's move on to our third question. So, in terms of customer feedback and engagement, what noticeable differences have AI tools made? And were there any unexpected responses or results? Jen, would you like to answer this?
It's a good question. I'm going to throw it over and come back to me in a moment. I got to think about it.
Anna, I think Anna is a better candidate to answer this. She's a heavy AI user together with Diana.
Right. Ah, I'd love to answer that question, but apparently, my computer is not cooperating with me at the moment. I would like to share a story. I recently tried out an AI prospecting tool. What it does is that you just input certain parameters like location you want to target, North America, company size, 10 employees and above, so on and so forth. Industries. And so I keyed in those parameters. What the tool is supposed to do, and this was just a free trial, so maybe that's why there were a lot of limitations. But what the tool does is that it's going to go ahead and look for the decision makers by itself. It's going to draft the email content by itself, and it's going to automatically send it out at 10:20 a.m. every day for 15 days. So that's what the free trial is about. I didn't expect a lot from it. I did see a lot of bounces, and when I double checked the recipient and researched them on LinkedIn, I saw that the prospect was no longer in the same company, and so thus the email bounced. I did get one unexpected response from a prospect, and he said he wasn't sure if he was promoted or demoted because the generative AI that free tool used somehow mistyped a certain word, and it kind of messed up the recipient's job title. But yeah, that was definitely an unexpected response. Point being, big lesson there. Never leave. Well, for me at least, I would definitely recommend that whenever we're using an AI tool, we really still need to not really supervise, but make sure that we still have our inputs there, or at least review what it's generating, because at the end of the day, when it comes to sales, we can't really just have a robot sending copies or communication to prospects. I personally believe that sales is all about building authentic relationships, and I don't think that's going to happen if we just rely on AI tools alone.
All right, thanks, Anna. It's really fascinating to see how these tools are not just amplifying the efficiency, but reshaping the customer experience, right? So go ahead and carry this momentum forward and answer our next questions about real life
Yeah.
example.
Well, I could give you, I could talk about question three. Sorry, just to come back, because I think
Sure.
it's really important. You guys had asked me to be a referral to a prospect that you were trying to
Mm.
close. And I remember when I was talking to him, and a lot of people don't even think about this, but the simplest use of AI is your website. And the first thing I said to him was, I'm like, well, is your website smart or is it a poster? Because it's like, and he said, well, what do you mean? I'm like, well, what is your website doing for you? Right? Like, what does it do for you? Does it just, oh, people just land there and they can read about me? Or is it providing you intelligence? And I would say that websites are the most expensive marketing investment that people forget about. And when you're not paying attention to it, it becomes a stagnant poster that doesn't do anything. How smart is your website? What are your competitors doing? What are your keywords? Like, you have to make your website smart, right? Like, so that is one thing I'll bring up is if you were to say to me, like, noticeable differences, a stagnant website, basically if money suck. You've invested into something you thought was going to bring you business. You're always shocked and I don't even know why my website never brings me money. But again, it's because you posted it, you didn't make it smart and doing things for you, right? So a website should bring you in inbound meetings and leads and opportunities. If it's not providing you any of those, we got to take a look and say, what are we missing on our website that's not triggering, a meeting or a demo or a customer?
Thanks, Jen. Okay, so I guess let's move on to our next question. So, can you give us a real life example of a tech tool that's completely changed the game for the sales and marketing practices of their business?
Jules.
HubSpot, Callbox.
A lot. There's so many. Number one, Callbox, as Jennifer mentioned.
Yeah, call box.
Well, because it's all within the engine, right? So again, you come
Yeah.
into that factory, you got Callbox, and it all like they feed together. I can't even describe it. So all the activity and all the engagements and all the mechanisms and levers that Callbox does, intelligence gets built into that HubSpot backend. Lead scoring. I think that automate. I think they've even upgraded to automated lead scoring. Like it's just once you start to build out all those beautiful little engines and integrations, you end up with a beautiful, I can't even describe it. When you can build them right and build them well, they're very fruitful factories.
At the same time, I think just to add on to that, as much as I want to put Callbox on front, of course, there's a lot of the way Callbox works is we can do a lot of what most clients and most businesses need, but at the same time, we do make sure that we have the right tools, right? So an example of tech tool that besides, you got HubSpot, and then we have tools that can actually help and assist our staff to be able to provide better production or better output for our clients' needs. Making sure appointments and leads that are provided are actually of the right fit and then hitting the right market. And these tools that we use, there's probably 3 to 5 tools that we use just to make sure that the prospect reaching out or the clients reaching out are able to actually get engaged in a way where we personalize everything from email to even just voicemails alone. We personalize that's personalized, and at the same time we follow through on them, and our AI is able to put them on a schedule. And let's just say it's on a schedule for you, but it's not just scheduled for it's not scheduled as the same for the rest of the other prospects or our clients. These are personalized in a way, and at the same time, we make follow-ups, and we actually send out materials or collaterals that could benefit them. And like Jennifer mentioned at the very beginning, it's about learning, right? Getting them to understand and learn about what we do or what one of our clients could do, and overall make that impact so that the next conversation that comes around, it becomes fruitful. It becomes in a way where it is meaningful and it's not just an introduction. You could be more technical and you can have a better conversation that hopefully could result into something good for our clients or for Callbox organization.
I would say, even if I'm just reflecting on like my past 25 years of being in sales, the one tool that I think hit the market and then bought up other competitors that really changed the game in sales was Zoom Info. Being able to get a phone number and an email address of the person I want to talk to, man, I'll never forget the first company I worked for about 10 years ago. They pulled in a company called Discover.org. They were purchased by Zoom Info over time. But I remember having Discover.org and I was like, I would have been, the first 10 years of sales would have been totally different if I had that. Just that alone. Give me the phone, give me Zoom Info. As long as I can get to the right person, I felt like it was gold. Now I've taken Zoom Info's power and I've thrown it into automation. Right? Like now everything's shaking and moving, right? Because now I'm targeting people specifically that I know that I have all their information, right? So I would say Zoom Info really propelled all of this automation forward because now I'm specifically coming after you because I found you,
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really incredible to see firsthand how innovation can reshape the landscape of sales and marketing, correct? So I guess let's continue our discussion to the crucial aspect of staying on the right side of AI regulation. So on your end, um, as AI rules and regulations are still taking shape, how are you preparing to ensure your AI strategies stay on the right side of compliance?
This is a really great question. I'm glad you asked. I will totally pound this problem over to somebody else. So I actually can't answer that. I
So
would be like, that's
Yeah.
my CMO's
Yeah.
responsibility.
Okay.
I
I'll
love
try
you,
to answer.
Jennifer.
I just pray. I'm in sales. I just pray, right? I hope everything stays kosher. No, I'm
Yeah.
just kidding.
Yeah. I'll try
I
to answer it first. So I think when AI was rolled out, we have to consider what threats or compliance we need to adhere to. So I think the top is content integrity and data privacy as usual. So for content integrity, how do we usually do about it in Callbox? I would suggest a tool Grammarly, which is Grammarly that will be used for plagiarism. So that's one thing. And then just like what Anna, Jennifer, Jules mentioned, that when you're using AI, you have to be mindful that you just don't copy the idea. You have to make sure that you customize it, personalize it, so that you don't steal other people's idea. So what Callbox has been doing to comply is we have a quality assurance team, which I think Jules will further elaborate, where when we generate content, for example, to ensure that we don't, override the rule for content integrity, is there's someone looking after for content integrity to make sure that each content that we are publishing is unique and personalized.
right.
Is
Jules.
ChatGPT surface like has so you brought up Grammarly, but
Yeah.
ChatGPT or like because I know there's a lot of them out there, would that take away that stealing of content or content integrity? I'm not sure if it's. I personally use it a lot. I think it's a great tool, but
Y- yeah,
somebody
that's
else who
why,
comes from
yeah.
Bert, yeah.
Yeah, that's why you need to use Grammarly uh, plagiarism checker, just to
Right.
make sure that
Mhm.
the content is unique and you don't override any ideas coming from different people. And also be careful when using like the chat gpt. There are research in there that are not really you know they're not really up for publication, and the integrity of those data needs to be double checked. So maybe Jules, you can chime
Yeah.
in since, yeah.
Yeah. Basically, generative AI or like such as ChatGPT, they scan the web and then provide you a response, right? And a lot of these responses are actually not, let's just say, it's someone else's work. It's not based on someone thinking and writing based on what they read and they write some sort of summary about the specific book or anything like that. It's just basing on what they found that someone else wrote, and then they provide and chat gpt provides it to you. So you have to make, of course, plagiarism checking is very important, especially if you use a lot of generative AI. As Mitus mentioned, and we have a team that actually constantly checks email templates, makes postings, emails through social media. These are verified to three stages within our content delivery team. They double check anything that is being pushed out to our clients, and we do a series of checking, but at the same time we also put the human factor to it. This is why AI should actually work with humans. So this is the AI plus human effect, right? You can't leave AI alone. It has to be guided and it has to be reviewed by someone, and that's why I don't think I'm not in the vote of that AI will replace human work. I think it's just gonna make people more um, productive overall. That's what AI is intended to do. I don't think it'll take over the world in any sense, especially even work, even. answering the call, I don't think it's going to get to that extent. But in
Yay. Never
compliance,
say never, Jules. I mean, we
yeah,
got
well,
people self-checking out
I
now.
iRobot did happen, right? That movie iRobot is there, so you never know. But of course, you know, it's I think it's more of design, and I think that's what the compliance is going to take shape. Right now, let me just give you an idea that the AI, the Europeans AI Act, which is in the final process. Um, it's actually supposed to be passed in the next couple months or so. And it's designed to actually make sure that companies review the AIs they're currently using to reach out to prospects. There was an article also where China actually has implemented a rule where generative AI should actually adhere to to their to the regulations when you're trying to reach out to organizations. And then the United States is currently has the Bill of Rights that's currently on the whitehouse.org website. And it specifies the continuation as to what AI could do and what it should do. Just like how we have HR in our organization, I think AI is treated to make sure that there's no bias, there's no type of discrimination if to any of to the outputs that it's doing. So that's naturally you have to comply to that. And when on Callbox side, we make sure that any countries we reach out to local governance. We make sure that we are abiding to GDPR, CCPA rulings, and we do that to make sure that we are not hitting any type or breaking the law. Really, we're not breaking the law in a sense to all the marketing efforts that we're doing, and we don't want you. I don't think anyone wants to be on that side or any on the wrong side of reaching out when reaching out to prospect. But understand that sometimes AI with the automation tools it can happen, and this is why humans actually or the staff needs to make sure that they review the workflow that you're creating or the content you're creating before even sending it out. And in the next couple of years, I think you'll definitely see more of companies trying to actually put some sort of bill of rights or act or guideline when using AI. And we just you just have to stay updated. I think there's several articles out there that's actually informing you of the possible changes. I think whitehouse.com or .org is actually one of them that I personally stay updated to and checking. And then of course, since we have European market and EMEA, I also try to reach out to local governments and then trying to see what kind of implementations or restrictions are available or we should adhere to. So staying updated is just an important key in trying to make sure you're compliant.
Mhm. I totally agree. I guess proactive measures taken to ensure compliance serve as a compass for businesses navigating the uncharted waters of AI. Right. So let's turn our attention to another important dimension here, measuring the success of AI integration. So, could you share insights on how to measure the success of AI integration in sales and marketing? And what key performance indicators businesses should look out for?
Hmm. I would like to reply that question because I'm the main user for that. So I have many KPIs that are helping me a lot every single day. So thanks to AI, I think that now my job is easier in some ways. And for that, I have to say something. Many people at the beginning, when we were starting to talking about AI, it was something like, no, that is the end of the human. We are not going to have more jobs or something like that. It was the same thoughts in that time. But now everybody can understand that AI is a help for everybody, especially for us when we are in sales or marketing. They are helping every single day, every single hour, because it's like before we have to spend a lot of time thinking about the best email for the client, what is the best way, what is the the next activity. It's like you didn't have clear what was the best path for getting the close that you want every single day. But now thanks the AI is something that you have more clear. um the KPI that you can work. So we can talk about many of them because we can talk about the lead generation, of the conversion, how many contacts we have, how many people we are contacting, how many people are reply from to the to their email that we are sending to them. So how is the engagement of our customer? For example, if they are doing the click to our proposal, if they are checking the email that we send, if they are interested about the information that we are sharing with them, so we can see if our is the personalization that we are using they are effective or not. So I think that especially for our rollers is very important, and we are using that KPIs every single day, and they can help us to know if we are doing a good grade or we have to improve something else.
I completely agree with you, Diana. So the KPI, or the key performance indicator, really will provide us a valuable roadmap for businesses embarking on their AI journey, right? So I guess to wrap up, our discussion, I would like to hear, from Jen and from the Callbox panelists, some of their advice and guidance for businesses that are either considering or hesitant about adopting AI in their sales and marketing. What advice would you give to help them overcome their fears and take the first steps towards AI integration?
So, not to be cryptic, but digital or die, right? You got to do it or you're going to get left behind. So, you just got to do it, but you got to do it right and you got to be methodical about it. You can't just go out there and buy like a Zoom info, I don't know, an email tool. Like everything has to be thought of because it all has to succinctly run the factory. If you start to break things up, because you're just randomly trying to transform, you're going to fail. So you have to be very strategic and methodical. But in 20, we're coming into 2024, right? We're days away from that, months away from that. You have to digitally transform. You have to adopt AI. Your competitors are 100% doing it, right? That's just that this is the new way of the business, but you just got to be methodical and strategic as you're making those decisions. And even maybe hiring in a consultant that can help to make sure that that factory is built in a beautiful way that flows to get the outcome that you would like.
My suggestion: hire Callbox to do it for you. No, just I'm
Nice
just
Agree.
suggestion.
right. But
If you want to be
no,
successful, use that.
but in all honesty, I think companies wanting to take that first step to having some sort of AI integration is, besides doing research, and taking a look at what you want. I think it's about creating a mission and vision statement, and visualizing what you really want the AI to do. Once you've figured out that this is what I want, for example, if you wanted more replies, more opens, more sendouts, just say an email, you're looking for an AI email tool, then find maybe hundreds of email tools that can tell you that's what they do, which is to have a better reply rate, a better response rate, and can send hundreds and thousands of emails. And once you've once you hone on that mission, I think then you can go ahead and start picking out 5, 10 different AI tools, and then do some trials. A lot of companies now, a lot of these AI companies are actually providing trials, right? And you could probably do a 2 week or 1 month trial, and grab the data pool that you need, and then pick out which is best for you. Of course, the rates and the pricing is up to the size of your organization, but I think as long as it fits what you're looking for, as far as your mission goes, then go with that direction and take that step. To take that first step, in acquiring your first AI tool. So that's my advice. Second to hiring Callbox. That would be my second advice.
Yeah, I think, yeah, to piggyback. So the greatest fear of everyone when adopting AI is job displacement. There won't be job displacement if, just like what Jen mentioned, go digital or die, right? There won't be job displacement if an individual will have due diligence to acquire, upskill, and learn how to navigate AI tools. But my advice as well is strike a balance between AI assisted process and human connection. As far as I know, decision makers who sign contracts are still human, not robots. So human connection is still very essential. And to
It's never
quote,
go away.
yeah, and to quote Nelson Mandela, since I was in Africa last time, a good head plus a good heart is a formidable um, combination. So to put it that way, artificial intelligence plus human connection is unformidable partner.
Mhm.
So yeah.
And Jules, not to like just to kind of hang up on that call box piece too. I was talking to a guy and he was like, "Oh, I've gone ahead and I bought a tool." And I was like, "Really? You've already bought Callbox? They do that." And then he was like, "Oh, I went and I did this." I'm like, "You're duplicating it. Save your money. You've already bought Callbox." Right? So there is a lot of AI that you bring to the table and that we don't want to underestimate that because literally I was talking to the same guy that I did a referral on. And I was just like, "Why? You've already bought them. You signed." Right. So now you don't need Zoom info. You don't need this. You don't need this because they bring this as to the table. Right.
Right.
So there is a lot of AI and automation, along with rigor and your people, and then the fierceness that they have to get the meeting too. Like, I mean, the full suite is success.
Mhm.
I agree. I mean, that's what we do. We want to bring innovation and making sure that everyone has the one-stop shop. We're your one-stop shop for your marketing needs. So whether you want to be with AI or you want us to innovate your marketing approach, we can do all of that. And but of course, I still want to say, as much as I love Callbox, I still want to say that there are other options for companies to do if you want to do it your own and take that step to have your own tool. I think um, just providing that, grabbing, understanding what your mission is, then you can possibly research hundreds and actually be able to start your journey and having an AI integration within your organization.
Yeah.
Agree. So I guess those are invaluable advices for businesses standing at the crossroads of AI adoption. So that's wrap up our discussion for today, everyone. But before anything else, I would like to thank, all our incredible panelists. Jennifer Taitula, from Credentially. Thank you for sharing all your wisdoms. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned because session 3, titled Leadership Innovations Guiding Your Business to the Future, is coming up next. And it promises to be equally enlightening. So don't miss it. Stay connected, stay inspired, and let's pioneer the future of business success together. For now, let's connect with each other in our networking rooms and enjoy some fantastic music on the main stage. Again, this is Olga, Client Success Manager of Callbox North America. Thank you and see you in our next huddle.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks, Jennifer.
Thank you. Bye bye.
And we're back here at the Callbox Hub with Vic.
Hendrix, do you remember the days when sales and marketing were all about gut feelings and traditional methods? We've come a long way from those caveman strategies, haven't we?
Without a doubt, Vic. From cold calls to billboards and mass post mail. So that actually sounds primitive, right? But
that every prospect is converted into long-term clients.
You took the words right out of my mouth, Vic. And with Callbox spotlighting this, it's clear that we're not just adapting to the future, we're helping shape it. And businesses now have the tools, well, thanks to platforms like Callbox, to navigate the AI-powered landscape.
Absolutely. And the beauty of AI is that it constantly learns and evolves. It's like having a business tool that never stops from growing and evolving. And with Callbox paving the way, I think we're in for a revolution.
Indeed, Vic. Callbox isn't just actually offering a plain service. We're offering a vision and let's say a smarter, innovative, and more connected business future.
Yeah.
It's not just about being ahead of the curve. It's about redefining the game.
Absolutely. And I'm excited to see where this AI-powered journey takes us next. With pioneers like Callbox leading the charge, the horizon looks promising.
I definitely agree with that, Vic. But coming right up, make sure you catch our insightful session about leadership innovations, guiding your business to the future. But before that, take a moment to relax, chit-chat, and groove to the rhythm with Callbox's in-house performer, Cypher the Star. Cypher, the virtual stage is yours.
Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Iverjan Vitstar of Callbox, and let my music fill your souls. Woo! Come on! Ooh, I would take the stars out of the sky for you. Stop the rain from falling if you ask me to. I'll do anything for you, your wish is my command. I could move a mountain when your hand is in my hand. Oh, words could not express how much you mean to me. There must be some other way to make you see. If it takes my heart and soul, you know I'll pay the price. Everything that I possess, I'd gladly sacrifice. Oh, you to me are everything, the sweetest song that I can sing. Oh, baby, oh, baby. To you, I guess I'm just a clown who picks you up each time you're down. Oh, baby, oh, baby. You give me just a taste of love to build my hopes upon. You know you've got the power, girl, to keep me holding on. Oh, now you've got the best of me, come on, take the rest of me, oh baby. Ooh, you to me are everything, the sweetest song that I can sing, oh baby, oh baby. You to me are everything, the sweetest song that I can sing, oh baby, oh baby. Don't go trying some new fashion. Don't change the color of your hair. You always have my unspoken passion. Although I might not seem to care, I don't want clever conversation. I never want to work that hard. I just want someone that I can talk to. I want you just the way you are. I need to know that you will always be the same old someone that I knew. Ooh, way that I believe in you. I said I love you, and that's forever. And this I promise from the heart. I couldn't love you any better. I love you just the way you are. Hesitate, 'cause your love just won't wait. Ooh, baby, I love you every day. Yeah, yeah. I wanna tell you I love your way every day. Yeah, wanna be with you night and day. I love you every way. Let me love you, let me love you. I can see the sunset in your eyes, brown and gray and blue besides. Clouds are stalking islands in the sun. Wish I could buy one out of season, but don't hesitate, la di da, 'cause your love. I wanna tell you I love you every day. Yeah, I wanna be with you night and day. Thank you very much.
Hello and welcome back, everyone. I hope you've been enjoying the insights and discussions during today's conference. We've covered a lot of ground, but now it's time for our final session, and it's a big one. My name is Melissa, Operations Manager here at Callbox, and I'll be your host for this session. In this session, we will delve deep into leadership innovations, discussing strategies for guiding your business into the future. Leadership plays a crucial role in shaping the success of any enterprise. And in today's rapidly changing world, the ability to innovate and adapt is more critical than ever. Now, let me introduce our distinguished panelists who will share their expertise and insights on leadership innovations. First up, our guest panelist, we have Mr. Robert Franks, SVP Operations from the Kreller Group. Rob, maybe you could go ahead and give a brief intro of yourself and your organization.
Sure, Melissa. Thank you. So my name is Rob Franks. I'm based in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I'm a SVP of operations for the Kreller Group. And Kreller is a relatively small boutique company that helps some very big clients manage their compliance needs regarding international business. So if you're going to do business internationally and you're U.S. based multinational, there's a lot of laws and rules that you need to be careful to follow. So we help our clients do that. I also started and run a brand protection business where we are helping brands that sell product on Amazon kind of eliminate counterfeits, eliminate sellers who are not legitimate, who should be selling the product, who kind of misrepresent it. And we also have fraud investigations. We have a lot of really interesting things happening here at Kreller. And I've been here for 4 years, and my background is pretty broad. I was a pilot in the Marine Corps, and then I went to Procter and Gamble, did marketing, and then I moved into technology. I ended up in private equity for a few years, and then came to Kreller. So I've been here and really enjoying it and learning a lot.
All right, thanks, Rob. And we are very excited to hear more from you in today's session, Rob. Joining Rob in the panel are the empowered leaders at Callbox. We have here our VP of Operations and Global Channel Partner Liaison, Mr. Jaime Garcia. Also, we have our Operations Manager for both Latin and North Americas, K6 Gabiota, and not but not least, Client Success Manager for Latin America, Carlos Gonzalez.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the session. Really looking forward to sharing some of the information today. There's a wealth of experience here on this call, and so we're ready to get started. Pumped up.
All right. Thanks, Jaime. Now let's get started with our discussion on leadership innovations and how it can guide our business into the future. Earlier in our discussions, if you've noticed, we've mentioned multiple times about change, about innovation, and everyone in the business world are surely very eager to find the best formula on how to keep up with changes, right? Whether in technology, processes, and even with business cultures. And that brings me to my first question to our panelists. In a rapidly changing business landscape, how do you define leadership innovation? And can you share an example from your own experience that demonstrate innovative leadership in action?
I can take that one to start out with, and then please feel free to chime in.
Sure, take it away, Jaime.
Thanks. So when you consider innovative leadership in action, for me, it's really about empowering all levels of the leadership within our organization, and it's really driving organizational change. So if you look at all the moving pieces that we have, the example I want to give you is the Callbox pivot starting a couple of years ago to how are we going to incorporate AI, right? And so there's our marketing side, which is taking feedback and reviewing everything that's happening on the marketing and what they're hearing, what's resonating, what's not resonating, and where are there opportunities where we could adjust our product offering to incorporate AI, and what does that look like? And then we have some of the teams that I work very closely with, which would be on sales operations, is, what are they hearing from their clients? What are their clients asking for? Because, we're not working in a vacuum. Our clients are talking to other vendors, they're attending seminars, they're attending networking events, conferences, and so they're educating themselves, and so they're going to be asking questions. And so we're taking all that in on the sales side as well. And then when marketing and sales and our teams get together to brainstorm and say, hey, let's pivot and let's change our offering to incorporate AI, and how does that look like? Well, there's another team that comes into play, right? They're the delivery team, our client services. It's not like, hey, we can pitch this, we can put out there on marketing that we can do X, Y, and Z, and and it's all hunky dory. And then at the end of the day, we have to be able to execute that. And so when we started to make this pivot to incorporate AI, we had a lot of brainstorming sessions on marketing and sales, and then hopefully K6 could chime in a little later. But what is really doable? What can we do, and when can we do it by? So part of that started on the front end, working with our data teams and incorporating, how, and this came up on, I think, some other sessions, is how can we extract all the information out of our proprietary data warehouse and use all that information, all those campaign insights over the last 20 years to build a better list or multiple lists for clients. And so that was one exercise that we had. The other one was making our platform for many years was known as Pipeline CRM, which gave our clients visibility into all the activities that their team was doing when they're partnered with us. And so we wanted to make that side of the program smarter as well. And so we incorporated more AI into our Smart Engage dialer and rebranded our platform. And so in addition to now being able to put together better lists, we have a smarter way to take into account all of our prospects' behaviors and engagement as they're going through their discovery journey with us. And then as that lead gets warmed up, it's going to change their list score. And when that list score hits a threshold, then that's going to give a screen pop to your sales development rep to go ahead and at that point attempt a call. But okay, great. Now it's also going to tell that SDR the best time of day based on the times that prospect was engaging with our different channels to have a better chance of reaching them. And so that was the second way that we wanted to incorporate AI, and all the different teams, including our soft dev teams that are going to have to make that happen. And then lastly, the other way we wanted to use this tool, we decided, was to incorporate that into building content, whether that's in-mail templates, email templates, the landing pages, all the content that we're creating for our clients along the way. And so, again, do we want to just blindly use, some of the tools, our Callbox enabled, ChatGPT, our Callbox version of that, and all the different prompts that we created to create better templates? Because ultimately, what we wanted to do was not only personalize the messaging like we always have, but customize that messaging based on the prospects' roles within organizations and the different pain points they might be experiencing without using our client's technology or solution, right? So that wasn't very feasible, especially when we're running over 200 active programs at any given time around the globe. And so now with these tools, we can do that. But at the end of the day, along every step, whether that's building the database and the list, whether that's our Smart Engage dialer, whether that's the content that we're creating, it's all human curated after the fact. And so this example was, on the leadership side is, okay, let's get with the marketing team in an ideal world based on what they're hearing, what can we pivot to and make it a better product? And, that ended up being, in addition to other things, we were going to make a pivot to more inbound support for our clients. And so instead of having multiple vendors handling different phases of their marketing, whether that's, on-page SEO or off-page SEO or lead gen or SDRs, we wanted to make it a more holistic solution for our clients where we can just really, be that partner that they can go to and fulfill all of their needs in one stop. So the other piece was getting all the teams, all the leadership of the teams to sit down and think about, okay, well, what's that going to look like on the marketing side? What's that going to look like on the sales side? And what can we pitch? And then finally, we have to go to operations and say, this is the messaging we want to create. What different technology, what different tools, what does your team need and able to execute this, and and by when, right? Because I'll keep bringing, coming back to this point, but our whole team, and it started with, our CEO invited to a call. It's like, hey, if you're on that call, we as a company are not looking for a bunch of yes people. We want people that are going to ask the tough questions, that are going to challenge, the conversation and give their input, and, be prepared to do that because, we're certainly not here just, if Ram says something that we're all going to, hold hands, say kumbaya, and it's like, that's it. No, it's, more everybody has the opportunity to be the devil's advocate and to ask those tough questions, to push the team to, work better, and execute better and come up with better ideas in that environment where it's safe to, to challenge the status quo and to really push.
To be responsible for making sure that the current operations of the business are running effectively. The cash flow is flowing as it should. That people are doing what they should be doing. But you also have to be thinking about the future. You have to be thinking about your competition. You have to be thinking about the external environment, what's happening, and how those things could impact your ability in the future to continue to operate. And that's where I see innovation as really important. It's a word that gets used a lot, but the new things that you could do, the things you're seeing, things that the team comes up with that are changes to the way you're doing work. As a leader, you have a responsibility to constantly be evaluating your environment and trying to identify ways that you can improve the performance of the business, sometimes quickly, and sometimes it's going to take a long, long time. But AI is a great example of an external opportunity for some, threat for others. For our due diligence business, we write reports. We have people all over the globe who write reports. AI is an enormous opportunity, and AI is an enormous threat. So as you look at it, you have to assess it from both the possibility that someone else does a great job building an AI-enabled report tool and makes it hard for us to continue operating, or if we did it, if we could do it. So a lot of leadership work is about assessing risk, as assessing the risks of missing out on a change in the environment, missing out on a change in the competitive world, and then falling behind, and then maybe hopelessly behind. There are industries, Netflix versus Blockbuster, where a little innovation, move to streaming, changes the world for Netflix, and Blockbuster goes away because they stuck with brick and mortar. So as a leader, your job is to be responsible for those innovation considerations as part of your job. For me, at Kreller, one example of innovative leadership is a shift we've made over the past 3 to 4 years. When COVID hit, we had a team that was largely based in Cincinnati, largely U.S. citizens, lived in Cincinnati. Primary language was English, but we were doing reports that were evaluating different companies all over the world. So we started to make a shift, and COVID helped us because it allowed us to empty out the office and move to a remote model. So we started to make a shift to the model we have today, which is much, much more global. And we are hiring people who are native Mandarin speakers. We're hiring people who are located in countries where they can access paper records, if paper records are a better way to get information about businesses. And we're using technology to do that. So there was a lot of infrastructure, starting with Zoom. Zoom was a big change, believe it or not, for our company. That was an innovation. So that's the other thing to think about with innovation is it's all relative. You could be in an industry that's highly, highly agile, highly, highly technical. And innovation, the speed of innovation might be much, much faster. And you could be in an industry where things move more slowly. I think about people in certain aspects of healthcare, certain aspects of law. They're far, far behind where they could be if they were using all the different tools that are out there. So depending where you are, innovation might look very different. For us, it was an ideal opportunity to move to a remote model and then a global model. And now we've got, between our employees, our contractors, and our subcontractors, we've got hundreds of people helping us create reports much more efficiently, better accuracy, better turnaround times, things that our clients really want. So that's an example. So it's not always, the really cool stuff. We're not all SpaceX, planning to put rockets on Mars. Sometimes it's as simple as getting leadership of a company to agree to go onto into a video conference instead of a meeting. So that's my thinking on innovative leadership.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Makes a lot of sense.
Thanks, Rob. Great insight.
Yes, absolutely. K6, want to chime in on this?
All right. So, based on their answers, what I'm getting, the keywords are change and then culture, right? So, leadership innovation drives those two things. Now, we're used to adapting to change. That's our like usual line that we use, right? But to drive innovation, we should actively shape it, like foster an environment where ideas are heard. So, especially right now in a fast paced work environment with members from different generations, right? Right, Jaime? And cultures, for example, Carlos. Well, we encourage an innovative leadership around the approach instead of imposing top to down changes. So, it's best to collaborate. So, this leadership innovation is not solely about navigating change, but pretty much empowering the entire team to actively shape the organization's response to the dynamic business landscape. So that's my take on that.
All right, great answers. Wow, we are just starting, but we're learning a lot from our panelists here. I guess most of would agree that in a rapidly evolving business landscape, the role of leaders has become increasingly complex, right? So, our next question is how can leaders strike a balance between the need for stability and the imperative to adapt to disruptive technologies and market shifts? And what strategies have you found most effective in achieving this balance? Jaime? Want to go first?
Yeah, I'll take that first.
Hmm.
So I think, from an organizational standpoint, and I think as a company, we just assume there's going to be a lot of disruptive technologies because we work with a lot of clients where their sole purpose is to disrupt, right? And then they're hiring us to market this disruptive influence. And so, we experience it on an ongoing basis, and not only that, also from competitors and from other technology providers. So I think when I look at the stability of Callbox is having a vision for the team to know in general where we're going and what we believe in, and how we can help our clients get to market better and faster than their competitors. And at the same time, we want to be able to have a culture where the Robert's on the risk and compliance side of things, but we almost like we want to break things, right? And maybe we're breaking things on the back end so that we can make our solution better and trying new technologies and whatnot. But I think what drives that is really having a culture of ongoing education for the teams, right? We're encouraging them, to and in some cases require them to take different certifications to have the ability to explore other ideas and to join other conferences and webinars and whatnot, just so that there's a mindset that, we're here to learn, so that what we learn we can apply and make Callbox a better, more nimble company. And I think, it's that education process of getting these folks with that mindset that it's okay to, present new ideas. Nobody's going to laugh you out of a meeting. We strongly encourage it. But at the same time, our CEO has a very clear vision of where we want to be this quarter, heading into first quarter 2024, and then all of 2024. Not only, for financial goals, but also, how we want to be as a company, right? So I think that's the part of the balance. And I think, this will come up on probably, question 3, but it really helps that we surround ourselves with really, really smart people, right? I mean, when we hire people, we are bringing them on so that we already know that they're a promotable talent. And so that culture of education and being surrounded by really smart people, I think it's, creates a great environment to have that balance, but also to drive the growth of the company, very quickly.
All right. Thanks, Jaime. Rob, want to chime in on this?
Yeah, I love the idea of disruptive technologies, and this idea that there's a silver bullet that you could deploy and it will change things in a meaningful way. But a lot of the disruptions that have occurred in the markets that you need to be ready for aren't really technology driven. A lot of them are ways we work. Like, COVID created a disruption because it got the older tech verse people forced onto Zoom. And now there are organizations that meet on Zoom that would have never considered that technology. The disruption was pushed and fostered by something, an external force. When Tesla introduces a new way to produce a car body and an injection molding system, that's changing the whole industry and the way the industry has to think about it. So I think, leaders have to have a balance where the business is not suffering unduly because of your investments in ideas that aren't totally proven, but could have a huge upside. It's a bet, and one of the comments that has been introduced in the chat is talking about Google and how they've kind of fallen behind. Well, when you get really big, it's hard to be disruptive. So OpenAI, a little startup that with $100 million can create something that really shakes the foundations of how people think about AI and what it does and large language models. And all these different industries are threatened by that because it could become very disruptive. And then Google, is in a position where they're supposed to be better than that because they're Google. So anything they introduce is going to be held at such a high standard. So how can you foster disruption in a company where basically you've become a big cash cow search engine, where you become a big mass producer of trucks that people drive to do their construction jobs, and you come out and you want to build an electric vehicle, and the standard is not the same. So smaller organizations have such an opportunity with disruptive ideas. And I think a lot of companies that choose to use people like Callbox to help them grow are smaller companies that are trying to push some sort of disruption. But as a leader, I think the balance is like you're placing bets on a crap table. Some have real high potential payouts, but low odds of winning, and others have pretty solid odds. And you have to balance your resources and your time in a way that you're not unduly, putting the current business operations in jeopardy. So it's a challenge, but I think you have to constantly be evaluating. And the way that I've approached it is very small bets, in lots of different places, and see what sticks. And that was how we got started with Callbox. We did a small bet and it worked. And then we were able to put another bet on the table and another bet on the table. And now the payouts are something we can quantify, and that makes it become part of our business. So it's disruptive for my organization to even consider using an outsourced sales team. and that's what, you know, the sales, the marketing, the technology were all part of the package, but and that was disruptive to our organization. So yes, I think it's important to strike that balance.
All right, thanks, Rob. And well said, gentlemen. Wow, I am loving this session and I'm excited to throw in more questions here. Okay, let's move on to the next. And I guess I'm going to point this question to K6 and Carlos this time. What role do diversity and inclusion play in leadership innovation? And how do diverse perspectives contribute to better decision making and future proofing your organization?
All right. So since I'm the senior, I'll take this first.
Mhm.
All right. So by experience, diverse teams bring rich perspective that aid innovation and lead to more robust and future ready solutions. I think Rob could agree to that. He shared his experience as well. Now, fostering an inclusive culture positively impacted decision making process and let's just say innovative problem solving as well. So, take for an example, opening a new site in Colombia isn't just a plug and play type of a project, right? It involves learning the LATAM culture, finding a way to meet halfway without compromising the callbox culture and processes as well. So, it wouldn't be a success if we did not involve different group members, like from our agents to leaders in the LATAM site and even the other callbox sites as well. So I think, in an essence, diversity and inclusion aren't just ethical imperatives, right? They are strategic advantages that foster innovation, fortify decision making, and of course, ensure an organization's resilience in the face of evolving changes. COVID, like different technology like AI coming out right now. What else? Marketing trends and all that. So there you have it.
Thanks, K6. Carlos?
So I believe that diversity and inclusion, they are a must to any organization there is, because they will bring so many perspectives and so many ideas and so many different rich things that could actually build up into an organization that could be a startup or could be an organization that has been in the business for quite some time. I'm talking about my experience here in opening Colombia site, and I can definitely sense that cultural impact uh, that we had from Callbox from day one until today, and how can we, with our diversity, sum up things and construct and build a bigger and a stronger foundation for the company. So those are one of the things that we always most encourage to any organization that there is, that actually diversity and inclusion are a must if you want to build a big and strong, foundation for your company.
All right. Again, great insights, Carlos and K6. Our next topic would be helpful to businesses with global operations and to those who are planning for expansion. In the context of global leadership, how do you ensure that leaders at different offices are aligned with your organization's mission and vision? And what mechanisms do you have in place for promoting leadership continuity across various locations? Jaime?
I could speak to that. I saw Rob nodding his head. I didn't know if he wanted to chime in first, but I'm happy to go first.
Go ahead.
So for specifically the Callbox teams, we've it's interesting, and I think our CEO touched on this during the keynote, is that we've already been, working remotely for our clients for forever, right? Since the very beginning. And so when the pandemic hit, that was nothing new to us. It was really more about how can we, pivot and leverage that expertise very quickly and make ourselves indispensable, especially at that time. But we've we've always had those same things since we've had multiple locations for many years. We huddle up as often as necessary. We have teams that get together, say for marketing, for sales, and for client services. They have their own huddles, and then the management leadership gets together at least once a week and does the same thing, right? So we are constantly promoting this continuity just because we're all listening to the same messaging. My expectation is when we have a management meeting on Monday to start the week, that that messaging goes down from each member that attended to their teams, the leadership of their teams, and then that gets passed down all the way to the agent level, right? And so we we as a company, as a culture, want to make sure that everybody's getting the same message. It's getting it very quickly, and that there's action items that are coming out of that, and what the expectation is, and how that promoting leadership continuity comes about is that we're all listening to the same message, and then the expectation is that we share that message. I think the other thing that's helped, and K6 gave an example about opening up Colombia. When we opened up Colombia, we actually put existing resources from our existing teams, and embedded them here with the team. Part of that is to help cross-pollinate Callbox culture, but also to take into account the Columbia office's culture as well. And how can we take all those moving pieces and align those different cultures so that at the end of the day, we're not only up and running and operating successfully in Colombia, but we've actually improved Callbox as a company by taking what was shared to us by the Columbia team and implementing that back across. And the same, with my role at Callbox, I moved around to different locations. I worked all the different offices for Callbox, and I'm there for years, right? And so I can take into account their culture and also kind of give them an American perspective on what their clients might be thinking about certain messaging and how we go to market and how we handle even something as simple as a weekly status meeting. So I think when you look at that, getting that alignment, I think it's really communication, but also it's helped to embed resources into those teams so that it's not just like something completely virtual that makes that happen.
All right, thanks, Jaime. And I guess Rob has valuable insights on this as well.
I hope it's valuable.
Go ahead, Rob.
I think it's interesting because this idea of alignment kind of conflicts with the idea of diversity and conflicts a little bit with the idea of innovation. So depending on how your organization's structured, if you have different functions in different parts of the world, alignment becomes really important. But you also have to leave room for innovation. And I like the idea of ideas that come from different places and exploring different things. So being aligned, but allowing some slack in the system for people to try things and do things differently, for people to take advantage of local cultural opportunities, where you might have a way of thinking that's different. I think those are valuable leadership tools to have. But overall, like my analogy about the ship, you can't run aground. So it's hard to run a global organization. It's hard to trust that people who might be working in a different time zone are doing everything that they should be doing the right way. You can't just kind of walk by the conference room like the old days and see that, oh, there's a guy from the big customer we're trying to sell sitting in the conference room. I need to talk to the salesperson. You don't get those hallway conversations. So when you're globalized, when you're remote, you have to have different ways of getting, sensing what's happening in the organization and sensing alignment. And for us, Slack is a very powerful tool because it allows for some informal communication. It allows for structured, grouped communication. So I think we've adapted some new tools to try to maintain some semblance of what we have in an office environment, while still allowing for diversity of thought and location and advantages that you get. So that's all I got.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Definitely makes a lot of sense. And in relation to that, I have a follow-up question. What considerations guide your choice of office locations and expansion strategy in a globally competitive business environment? And how do you adapt to changes in geopolitical or economic landscapes?
That's a great question, especially for us. Then in that we strive to have representation of different languages. We categorize the languages of the world into different groups like Romance languages and the Slavic languages and the Asian languages. And but you also have value you get from cultural knowledge. So we have a combination of focused investments in areas where we know there's a strength. I think as an example, the Philippines, the English language skills are excellent, and, and that might be something that's been recent that they got really good, and the work ethic and the personalities. It's a great region, but I also have a team in Bulgaria that is super talented at research, because for 20 years the majority of media research was outsourced to Bulgaria. So I can hire people in Bulgaria and get amazing skill sets there. I've worked in the past where India was a great choice for certain software development work, and that evolves and changes over time. So I think the office location choices, when you're looking at creating value added work, have a lot to do with the educational level, the skill sets, and of the people, and in some cases, just if they're native Mandarin speakers or they have access to legal documents that we can't otherwise get access to outside of the country, then there's a real advantage for us competitively. And then I think you think about where your customer base is. So if you're going to locate a sales office somewhere, it's probably going to be where there's a lot of customers that could buy from you. So that's mainly the thought process. Geopolitical and conditions. Obviously, it's scary right now in parts of the world, and we think about that a lot. We do some work for the government that involves us sending people into places that are a little scary. So we do think about that. We understand it. We understand the risks. We don't really let it prevent us from getting people in the team who are talented and have value to add. All they really need is good internet, and we're an electric. Actually, that could become an issue sometimes too. And then the economics. I mean, when you have an environment where you can treat people very well and stay within the budget you need to be competitive, that's a real advantage. If the talent is in that market and you can pay them fairly or even more than fairly, and make them happy and make them want to work for you, it's a huge advantage. And there's some places, where some types of roles where it's really hard to find people in the US who will be happy at the price you can pay and be competitive. So outsourcing to another country makes a lot of sense in those situations, because the market won't bear what the market won't bear. And that's the challenge. So I've discovered real advantages in regions, where there's just a surplus of wonderful, brilliant people with a great attitude that can bring a lot of value to the table, and that's really been a key part of my career is doing that.
All right, I totally agree with you, Robert, that it really takes thorough evaluation and for you to be able to determine if you wanted to expand your business, if you wanted to go global, just to make sure that you're putting your eggs on the right baskets, right? So you
Mhm.
really have to evaluate all areas that you need to before going for it. Okay,
Right.
anything that you wanted to add, Jaime?
No, I think you know, Robert was spot on. I think when Callbox considers expansions, one of the things we look at too is like the top universities per capita, or if we're in some kind of a tech corridor, so that we have access to what Robert alluded to, which was some really really high caliber talent that might be looking to leave the area, but if they have an opportunity to work for somebody like Callbox, that's a global company that pays better than the local market rates, but still providing a um, great business model for our clients from an outsourcing standpoint. I think that's one of the prime drivers, right? That we have access to top talent, that we can continue to scale as needed. So I think I think Robert spoke well about the geopolitical and economic landscape. I think geopolitically, it can be scary. Things can change any place at any time, and it's just again, having redundant resources now with Callbox with 5 different production centers. I think that really helps as well. Even ability if a major storm comes through like it did a few years ago to our Siargao office, that we were able to pivot and you know get those resources back up and running um, fairly quickly. Right, it was a very quick pivot. So I think those redundancies, if you're going to be expanding like that globally, to have those redundancies in place as things might change, whether it's geopolitical or it could be climate. Right, so that's it.
All right, thanks again, Rob and Jaime. My next question is actually still relevant to global operations best practice. K6, can you provide insights into the challenges and opportunities of managing a distributed workforce? And how do you support remote and globally dispersed employees to foster productivity and well being?
All right. So, gosh, this question is really relevant to me by experience.
Mm-hmm, I
It's
know.
not. So, oof. All right. But if you think about it, this distributed workforce, it allows a diverse pool of talents and flexibility. But then again, you also have to think about the requirement of intentional strategies to maintain productivity and well-being of your team. So, based on experience, some of the common challenges are, of course, communication barriers, cultural differences, like I've mentioned earlier, harmonious collaboration, and of course, there's a tech hurdles, right? On the other hand, the opportunities we are seeing here would be access to global talent pool, flexibility, cost savings, and of course, increased productivity as well. So, in addressing this, it is recommended to have a robust communication platform, like Rob have mentioned, Slack, right? To pretty much bridge the gap between the team members. So internally, we have our group chats. We also do huddles, right? And to foster cultural sensitivity awareness. So this is to pretty much understand and respect the diverse perspective and, of course, foster inclusive work environments. So all this stuff, it's really about collaboration, understanding what's on the other end, putting yourself out there, and then finding common ground. So to successfully manage a distributed workforce, I should say, would be a combination of technological, cultural, and people centric strategies, right? This is to pretty much overcome challenges, at the same time, leverage the numerous opportunities it presents. So those are the learnings that I have during my project or my trip in Colombia, and then of course still managing a team here in the Philippines. And then right now I'm here in the Philippines, and at the same time still managing our Colombia site.
All right, flying from the Philippines to Colombia to help kickstart our Colombia office is really tough, but you did a great job, K6. All
Kickstart.
right,
That's the
yes.
keyword.
Kickstarted. Okay. As a manager in today's dynamic business environment, striking the right balance between the pursuit of rapid growth and the imperative for sustainable long term development is a critical challenge, right? So, in your role as a manager, how do you balance the push for rapid growth with the need of sustainable long term development? And what key performance indicators do you prioritize maintaining this balance?
So it's a follow-up question for me. All right. So it requires strategic management to ensure growth and sustainability, right? So if we are to think about KPIs, we need to find ones that align to the goals and at the same time ensure that they are attainable. So for an example, financial stability, like we look into the revenue, the cash flow management. If we're talking about the resources, how are we effectively using them? Uh, Pretty much to gauge the operational efficiency as well. Another thing would be customer centric metrics to identify opportunities for the group to improve on, at the same time, alignment with our clients. Now, it's pretty much, if you think about it as a business or you as a leader, part of the management, it's more of management expectation, the resources you have, and then you as a leader, what can you do or what can you support, that what support can you provide to your team, right, to reach those goals. So pretty much balancing the pursuit of rapid growth with sustainable development requires a holistic approach, right? So pretty much KPIs, we use that as a collective attribute to contribute and then maintain the balance of things. So, speaking of KPIs, you also need to assess and at the same time adjust strategies if need be. Because, of course, growth initiatives need to also align with what you have at the same time, your organization's goals, to be to be more relevant at the same time, be on that long-term success of the organization. So, Carlos, do you have anything to add here?
So, yes, I do. So, I think one of the key performance indicators that you should always have into account is also um, the fact that, or not the fact, but like the willingness of that person to grow within the company. You must always be aware of what is that motivation. How can you drive that motivation? How can you drive that person to be the best self and to, of course, deliver the best quality of work that they can? And that is for you as a long-term development strategy something really strong because that will keep that person within the company and they will that will drive like that willingness and that fire inside of just becoming a leader and then start deploying their ideas and develop more people.
All right. Thanks, Carlos. Indeed, effective management requires a delicate juggling act that marries short-term gains with a far-sighted vision, right? And for the last topic here, I guess I wanted to hear from everyone and the panelists from a management perspective. How do you critically assess the impact of automation on your team's workflow and morale? And what steps do you take to ensure a smooth transition while retaining critical human elements and client relations and problem solving? Rob, you want to go first?
So how do I critically assess the impact of automation on workflow and morale? I think another panelist in another group said something about automate to eliminate, right? Where it, I think Musk has something called the idiot expense or something, the difference between the raw material cost and what it costs to deliver something, right? There's always a way to improve your process. And there's so many different technologies that help with workflows and automations. I think if your team is overloaded with work that's repetitive and you offer them an innovative way to simplify that and automate that if possible, you've made their lives a lot easier. So I think people appreciate it. I think often people are frustrated and working really hard and if you create an environment where they're giving you feedback and you're understanding that they've got a challenge keeping up with the workload and you can introduce an automation, I think they like that. But I also think people feel threatened at times by automations. They feel like this is going to make it so you don't need me. So you have to weigh the way that you communicate the purpose of the innovation and the automations. I want to make this process faster and easier, so you can do not just the things you're doing today, but other things on top of that, or you can focus more on things that have a higher direct value to the customer. Because it doesn't, if we're capturing screenshots that we're using in our emails or outbound emails to make them very targeted, and we're using a manual process, that job gets pretty boring. Um, so when you automate it, you don't necessarily need the person who did that manual work to continue doing that, but you can give them another type of task because you've got a person who's diligent and hardworking. So automations have that two-edged sword effect. People see value, but they also see threat. So you have to as a leader, evaluate that carefully as you roll out these innovations.
All right, thanks, Rob. That makes a lot of sense. So you really have to, train the people on how to really use the tools, the new deployment of technology. But just like what they say, work hard yet work smarter.
Yes.
All right, K6, anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, someone who's into tech, like technology. I was in the first session. Bill mentioned innovation first, so that's the line that really struck me today. So, as a leader or part of the management, it's very important for us to assess the benefits of the strategy that we are thinking of implementing at the same time, and really into mitigating challenges. So, pretty much thinking 5 steps or even 10 steps ahead, right? At the same time, as part of the leadership team, we need to preserve, ethics. At the same time, instill the human-centric processes. So that's my take on like all of the sessions that I've been into. I hope I did make sense, just for a few lines.
You definitely do. Carlos?
So, one of the things that I consider is really important and really strong about automation is that the fact that automation helps people to do things in a better way and in a more productive way, also. And with that being said, people sometimes take that as an offense or perhaps are not very willing to cooperate when it's something that it's being automated. And your work as a leader here is to make sure to first of all educate and making sure that everybody understands what's the process, why the automation goes like that, and to really make sure to um, be aligned with what the process is and what the expectation is. Because if there is a process, then there is also an expectation, and everybody should be educated around that as well.
All right, thanks, Carlos. Not but not least, Jaime?
You know, I think these last two questions on the call box end, I think what's underlying all of this is that when we look at all the revenue producers, whether that's on the the marketing teams who are managing their KPIs and their revenue that they generate off their leads, to our our outside sales team, and then the client services team, they're all revenue producers. And when I look at any individual one of them, and Melissa, you'll know this to be true, is that we treat everybody as owning their own business, right? So when you have, Melissa has her book of business, K6 has her book, Carlos, me, our leadership team, from the top down is looking at us as reporting and owning our own P&Ls within Callbox, right? And so this keeps us very close, the leadership very close to, this critically assess the impact of automation, because we're not way up here looking down at others. We're involved managing our own P&Ls and being held accountable to how we're implementing any of these new strategies or tools, and it comes into the ethics, and and it also is very healthy competition, right? So I think when I was thinking about these last little pieces here, is like, how do we do that on the call box? And it's because everybody owns their own P&L, and so we work really hard, competitively, but also as part of the team to make sure that overall we're going to hit our net new revenue growth goals every quarter.
All right, thanks, Jaime. I would definitely agree with you on that. That's how we are honed here at Callbox. We're tagged as the CEO of our own group, so that makes us more analytical and accountable as well. Right. So, as we near the end of this session, I'd like to extend our gratitude to our panelists for sharing their valuable insights and experiences with us. Thank you so much, K6, Carlos, Jaime, most especially our guest panelist, Rob. Thank you so much. We've learned a lot from you as well today. Leadership innovations are essential for guiding businesses into the future, and we've learned from you in this session a lot. We've covered some good questions and you had the best answers. Indeed, prove that you are experts at what you do. So, again, thank you so much for being a part of this incredible conference. And we hope that you leave with a wealth of knowledge to help you thrive in this ever evolving business landscape. Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned for more exciting content ahead.
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
Ciao.
everybody.
Thanks,
Robert,
Rob.
thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank
All
you.
right. Bye.
And that's a wrap, everybody. And we hope you found valuable insights into the visionary power of next gen designers in the ever evolving world of business.
Perfectly said, Hendrix. The leaders of tomorrow are the visionaries of today, setting the foundation for the world that adapts, grows, and thrives.
Alright, so I think this ends our Callbox Huddle 2023 journey. And it has been a pleasure sharing the virtual stage with you, babe.
Likewise, Hendrix. And of course, I'd like to take this opportunity if you do have any questions or information you needed information, you can visit our official website, Callbox. And of course, for the latest updates about the latest happenings within the company, you can follow Callbox on Instagram, Facebook, and subscribe in its YouTube channel, as well as on LinkedIn. And of course, to our participants, thanks for joining us today, and we look forward to catching you on the next edition.
And this is the Callbox Huddle 2023, building tomorrow's business today. Bye, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.